Here for these two teams, waiting for that green light, and we are rocking and rolling. Hey guys, how you coming? Sit down, BKR Sport. We are live as the Canterbury Bulldogs are going to be taking on the St. George Illawarra Dragons in a game that has a lot of implications at the very top of the table, and also is probably the final chance here for the Dragons to keep their season relatively alive. Like, at the end of the day, I would say that Dragons and below this season, unfortunately, are done. But with that being said, like, mathematically speaking, like, there is still a chance for them. And if they just have to win out. They just have to win pretty much every single game. Their points differential is not that great. But at the end of the day, if they do win out, like, it'll keep them in the hunt, obviously. So, look, it's a big game for them because it will define whether everyone will start talking about them being a contender for the top 8. But again, they have put themselves into a pretty dark hole where it's going to be difficult to get out of for the rest of the season. But obviously, guys, today we did have the Raiders take on the Eels. Now, I was meant to do that one, but I just wasn't able to get on for it. We will be live for the Manly versus Melbourne game right after this as well, and obviously we'll slap this down. So let's get through these two team lineups here before the game starts in 10 minutes' time. Obviously, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new around here, and let's crack on. So the Dogs, they come into this game from 3rd position. The Dragons come into this game from 11th position, and this is at a Stadium in Sydney. The ins here for the Dogs, you got Kurt Mann, Lachlan Galvin, Satili Tupanua, and Stephen Crichton, with the outs being Blake Wilson, Bronson Seri, Samuel Hughes, and Toby Sexy Sexton. The fullback is Connor Tracy, with the wingers being Jacob Kiraz and Jethro Rinakama. On debut last week, got a try. Looked very nice. And then on the centres, you got Inari Tuala and Stephen Crichton, who is the captain. You go to the 5'8", Matty Burton, with the halfback being Lachlan Galvin. Front row forwards are Max King and Josh Curran, who comes in from the 16 into the starting prop. And then the number 9 is Reid Marnie. Back row is Viliami Kikau, Vili Bombili, and Jacob Preston, with the 13 being Jamin Salmon. The interchange, Kurt Mann, Harry Hayes, Bailey Hayward, and from the 19th man now into the bench, Satili Tupanua, and the 18th man replacement is Curtis Moran. Cameron Ciraldo as the coach. Obviously, we could go on for days and days. We've gone on for weeks and weeks. Fox League is basically the Bulldogs show at this point in regards to the situation that's going on in Canterbury with their halves. Give me one sec. As you guys know, I'm still getting over my sickness, so do forgive. Just got a bit of a runny nose, and I'm all over the shop, so do forgive that when I have to mute from time to time. But like I said, Fox League is basically a Bulldogs league at this point, because there's just so much conversation around Lachlan Galvin and Toby Sexton and Reid Marnie, and the changes that the Dogs have been making, which have been extremely interesting for a team that has been up the top end of the table of this season. So, look, it's interesting to see how this Bulldogs lineup gets on today, because in recent weeks they have been stumbling. They have been stumbling over the last maybe month or so is really when they've started to kind of fall apart, maybe even a little bit longer. But last week they beat the Cowboys 12-8. They had 15 errors in that game. The Cowboys had 17 errors in that game. For anyone who doesn't know kind of how many errors you should have on an average number rating, anything above 10, 11 is pretty bad, but 15 and 17 was awful. It was a really, really poor, disciplined game from both those teams, but the Dogs were able to hold out the win in the end to win that game 12-8, but obviously it was not exactly confidence building there for Dogs fans, but at least they won that game. And as I always say, and as a lot of people always say, if you can win games that you don't necessarily deserve, I'm not even saying the Dogs didn't deserve to win that game, but, on an individual basis, you could argue it. But overall, if you can win those games where you just didn't play great, well, that's a great sign to being a genuine contender. So you could look at it that way. I guess today will tell us a lot more about that. The week beforehand, they led 18-0 against the Broncos. Now, both these teams had a lot of players out with Origin for this game. The Dogs led 18-0, lost 22-18 to the Broncos. Now, one of their better results of the season, despite it being a loss, was actually 8-6 loss to the Panthers. This was a great game where the Dogs looked incredible. They really did look great, and so did the Panthers, obviously, for them to be able to get the win. But it was a real grand final-esque kind of game between those two teams. So I don't really look at that and say the Dogs were too poor in that one. And a lot of people will look at that and say the scoreline's 8-6. It wasn't great from either team. It absolutely was. It was one of the best games, if not the best game of the season. A couple weeks before that, they beat the Rabbitohs 24-18. It wasn't really too convincing, but they did get the job done. They did beat the Eels 30-12, but a couple weeks before that, they lost 44-8 to the Dolphins. Just got over the top of the Roosters. came back from a 20-0 deficit against the Raiders to win 32-20. So, look, it doesn't look as awful as I guess Dogs fans are probably feeling right now. However, the issue for the Dogs this season is that like they are able to beat up on all those teams below them, but in the top four, they've won one game against the top four so far, which is a bit of a worry. It's a bit of a worry because when they've taken on, let's go have a look here. The Bulldogs took on the Raiders and they beat them 32-20. The Warriors, well, let's go have a look when they played. So Bulldogs took on, when did the Bulldogs take on the Warriors? Have the Bulldogs taken on the Warriors? Have the Bulldogs played the Warriors yet? I don't think they have. Hold on a second here. Bulldogs Dragons, Bulldogs Titans, Bulldogs Eels, then they played the Sharks, then the Knights, then the Rabbitohs, the Broncos, the Titans, the Raiders, the Roosters, the Dolphins, the Eels, the Rabbitohs, the Panthers, the Broncos, and the Cowboys. They haven't played either the Storm or the Warriors yet. That is okay. Interesting. That is very interesting, actually. So I was actually kind of just talking a little bit of shit there because they haven't played the top four teams really. They've played one game against the top 14, which was the Raiders, and they did win that game 32-20. Obviously, they were down 20-0, but they play the Warriors in round 23. They play the Storm for the first time in round 25. Yeah, wow. That's an interesting draw there for the Bulldogs. Anyway, point of the matter is that they're competing for that minor premiership right now. I don't think they're going to be able to get it, especially with the Raiders getting that win today against the Eels. They've still got another bye to come, whilst the Storm and the Bulldogs both have had all three of their byes so far. So yeah, I'm really not too sure the Dogs can get that minor premiership, but they are competing with the Storm there for that second position. The Storm play Manly today in a bit of rivalry game there. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But the Bulldogs should absolutely come into this game believing they can win and win well. Now for the Dragons, on the other hand, they've got Nick Tsugranis coming in with the out being of Valentine Holmes. The fullback is Clinton Gutherson, who is the captain, with the wingers being Sione Finau and Tyrell Sloan. Centers are Corey Allen and Moses Sully, with the 5'8" being Lycan King Tongia and Kyle Flanagan as the halfback. Front row forwards are David Clemmer shifting from the 10 to the 8, and you've got Michael Molo coming from the bench into the starting prop. Damien Cook is the hooker, with the back rowers being Lushan Leilua and Jaden Sewer. The 13 is Jack DeBellin. You go to the interchange, Emre Gula, he's dropped from the 8 onto the bench with Jacob Little, Blake Laurie and Hamish Stewart, and the 18th man replacement is Nick Tsugranis. The coach is Shane Flanagan. This Dragons team, there is no surprises at all in regards to what they are and kind of what the Dragons have been for a few years now, where they're competitive enough to, I guess, compete around the 8, but they're just not dominant enough to win enough games to get there. Like, they are not awful, but they are not great. And I feel like that's kind of the perfect way to say about the Dragons. Last week, they lost 31-24 to the Roosters. The week before that, they lost 28-24 to the Raiders. The week before that, they beat the Eels 34-20, had a bye, were up 18-0 against the Sharks, lost that game 30-18. And then before that, they obviously lost 56-6 there to the Dolphins, who have been scoring points for fun recently. So, you know, the Dragons team is very much exactly what we think them to be, and that is a team that will win some games, they will lose some games, they will compete, but they won't necessarily get it too far over the line. I don't really know about their path forward because they've got a lot of older players. It's not necessarily set up for the future. I really don't know how to see the Dragons going into the future. But overall, I'm going to tip the Dogs here today. I'm going to tip them 1-12 on the basis that, look, they can win this game 13+, but this is a rivalry game. The Dragons, this is literally last chance season for them. If they don't win this game, you know, they're going to be still 2 wins behind, potentially 3 wins behind the top 8 if the Manly Seagulls win later on today. But right this current second, they're 2 wins behind the top 8. The team in 8th position is the Dolphins with a plus 169 points differential, and they're on minus 56. So this is last chance season for them, man. It really is. But let's get into the ladder. So I am taking the Dogs 1-12. I think the Dragons will shop for a fight, but I think the Dogs should be still too good for them. But we'll see how it goes. Now, the ladder, the Bulldogs, they are in 3rd position on 30 points, which is equal with the Melbourne Storm on 2nd. The Dogs have a plus 96. The Storm have a plus 220, which is a big old gap there. And the Storm play Manly at Amy Park later on tonight, which we will be live streaming for. If the Bulldogs win this game, they will go into second position because the Raiders got their wins. So they're up on 34 points now, and I think they're about plus 130 odd, 135 on the points differential. But they're going to be they're already 4 points above them. But with a win, they'd be 2 points below them, and the Bulldogs would be in second for the time being. But I do assume that we will see the Melbourne Storm probably beat Manly today. So you would assume the Dogs, if they get a win, they more than likely will finish off this round in third position, but there is all the chance to finish in second. If they lose this game, however, they probably won't be dropping off either. So the Warriors are on 28 points in fourth position, the only team there. They've got a plus 31 points differential. Now, the Warriors tomorrow will play against the Newcastle Knights. That could be a big win incoming for the Warriors, but it is a big gap between 96 and 31. So the Bulldogs would have to lose this game by like 20-30, and the Warriors have to win by a pretty similar amount over the Knights for anything to change there. So realistically, I do see the Dogs just sitting in third this week, win, lose, or draw. And I don't think there's going to be too much changes. But if they want to have any chance of the minor premiership, again, that Raiders team has a bye. The Storm and Dogs have played their byes, so they really are in a bit of a desperate situation for the Raiders to lose a game so they can even have a chance. But again, their points differential is a bit behind them now, so they have to kind of use this as a get-back game, points differential-wise. Dragons, on the other hand, like I said, it's last chance season for them. If they win this game, they will stay in 11th position. They're on 18 points right now. The next best teams are the Roosters, Manly, and Dolphins on 22, so they would go to 20. They'd still be 2 points behind them. So if they win, they will be in 11th position, but they need to fix that minus 56 points differential because the Roosters are plus 8, the Manly Seagulls are plus 58, and the Dolphins are plus 169. So you wouldn't even look at the Dolphins. You'd have to switch by about 100 on Manly. And Manly aren't even in the top 8. So this is how much trouble the Dragons are in right now. If they lose this game, the Cowboys have already played their game, so they're on 17. The Knights on minus 85. They're on 16. The Tigers are also on 16, but with minus 102. The Eels are on 16, but they lost. And the Rabbitohs are on 16, but they lost. So the Dragons with their minus 56, say if they lost this game by like 20 points and go down to minus 76, the Knights would just have to beat the Warriors by about 10 points, and then the Dragons would drop down into 12th position. And if the Tigers, they would have to win by 50 points on its merit right now. But if the Tigers won, then there is a potential the Dragons could go down to 13th, but the Tigers would have to win by quite a little bit there at Leichhardt tomorrow against the Titans. So, look, the Dragons can fall as low as 13th. They probably will fall as low as... No, I don't even know. They could actually just stay exactly where they are. Not a great deal of ladder change coming up today, I would assume, from either of these two teams. But let's crack on. Let's crack on here for the game. The Dogs have run out to the field. Same with the Dragons. It's a bit of a rivalry game. Let's see how it all goes down, and if it fires up like we expect, because again, the Dragons really should be up for a fight here if they want any chance of making the top 8 this year. But obviously, guys, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new around here. Like I said, I apologise, I am still a little bit sick, so if you see me muting or you see me having to use tissues all the time, I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best to still crack on, despite the fact that I'm not at the peak of my health as we currently speak. But all right. Let's get it. Casey says, hat matching the shirt. Look out. Yeah, nice little Cubbies shirt. Get her out of Cubbies. We're flying at the moment, Casey. We're flying. We're flying, mate. We're flying. They play the Warriors in a couple of weeks. Ball Collector says, spinning a yarn on that one. What are you talking about? Anyway, the Dragons will kick it off, and the Dogs will get the ball inside their own end goal. Matty Burton gives up to Max King, and he's going to run this ball bang out to about the 10 on first tackle. But yeah, I'm actually surprised that they... I've realised it at points this season, but I guess it just didn't click in my head that they haven't played the Warriors or the Storm yet, which is just insane to me. I'm pretty certain Jethro Rinakama just lost that ball just then. Yep, they're going to call knock on here, second tackle. The Bulldogs will knock the ball on here on second tackle. And we're about to see a great opportunity for the Dragons to strike very early here. We're going to see a big opportunity for the Dragons really early. Jay, I got there ahead of you. I haven't seen you comment it yet, but just letting you know, I got there ahead of you. Olivia Reed with the $8 donation. Get around you, Olivia. It's another day, another dono. Today is a day I wish I could have KO on one half of the TV and stand on the other up the All Blacks. Same with the Wallabies playing the British and Irish Lions tonight. Would love to watch that, but obviously do not have the ability because I will be streaming that Manly versus Melbourne game. But all right, Dragons ball here at the 20. Tyrell Sloan goes out to the right side. Wow, he nearly found some space early doors. 8 made it out. Thank you very much for the dono, Olivia. 8, first tackle. Sully gets it across here to Flanagan, and Flanagan off to Michael Mollo, who is 10 metres away here from the line. Second tackle. If the Dragons score here, this will just be a massive, massive, like brain crusher, mental crusher for the Bulldogs in a way, because they've just been a little bit all over the shop recently, and they need to get off to a good start. But the Dragons here, Moses Sully, they need to get off to a good start. 5 metres out, 4 tackle. To put themselves back on track, because they are absolutely still in a slump right now, despite that Panthers game, and that was a loss, but despite that Panthers game, they are in a bit of a slump right now. Fifth tackle, that's why the Dogs fans begged me to put them on fraud alert. I didn't necessarily want to do it, but a Dog fan, they begged me. They begged me. And that's an awful kick from the Dragons. Who kicked that? What was that? That was an absolutely horrific kick there. Mitchell says Manly Scam is coming tonight. Hey, maybe, mate. And maybe, Mitchell, it's on the cards. It is on the cards. So first tackle here for the Dogs at the 40 on their own side of the field. It is on the cards for sure tonight. But I guess it would depend on how big of a result it is. Like if it's a 1-2, 6-point loss in Melbourne against the Storm, I really don't know if I could do it. But if they got absolutely pumpamundossed, then you kind of would have to, especially considering I had them for 4th place pre-season, you know. 4th tackle now at the 35. But then again, if they win, they're off for all of them, and they're flying. If they win in Melbourne, they'd be flying. 5th tackle. And again, Manly do play Melbourne pretty well for the most part, usually. I think they got pumped early on this year or whatnot. But normally, Stephen Crichton kicks that ball into the corner, and that is going to be... Yeah, smart move there by Gutho. That's a smart move by Gutho. That's going to be a 7-tackle set. He put his foot out and grabbed it while he was already out. So, 7-tackle set coming up for the Dragons. Dazmate says, hello, Dragons fans. Jeez, why are we screaming here, Daz? Hello, Dragons fans. Happy 40th anniversary of when the Dogs kicked the living shit out of your fraud 1985 team in the 85 grand final to go back-to-back. Yeah, Daz, mate. Yeah, you watched that one live, didn't you? Were you there? Were you at the game? Were you at the game or something? 1985. Was Google your best friend for that comment, or that was just out of the blue? So 3rd tackle here with the Dragons. They'll be at the 43. Jarrett, that's 6 again. I tell you what, the Dogs have not gotten off to a good start here. Like that set was pretty decent, but like overall, they're very lucky the Dragons have about a 0.0% chance of kicking a good kick in their repertoire. That's why they got that 7-tackle set. 3rd tackle now, 25 metres out. Jay says scoreboard, mate. Yeah, I was all over it, Jay. I was all over it. Yeah, no, I honestly, like I didn't even see your comment yet. I'm a big boy now. Oh, Dragons, 4th tackle, 10 metres away. Well, it's shaping up to be a good game here for this first 4.5 minutes. If this is how the game goes, it is shaping up to be a good game. I just want to see a better kick out of the Dragons on this one. Oh, get up, kick out. Stop it. Don't even encourage him. Don't encourage. That was clearly a dive. 5th tackle now for the Dragons, 20 metres out. Kyle Flanagan, that's a little bit of a better kick. It's still not great, but Sully knocks it back. It's Grassy McGrath. Dragons knock it back again to Gutherson. And Gutherson will... Okay. The Dragons are going to score of the worst try I've ever seen in my life. I've got to be honest with you. I've got to put my hands up and I've got to admit that was the worst try I've ever seen in my life, but it was the worst try I've ever seen in my life. It was a try, but it was awful, and it didn't deserve to be a try, but they got a try because of how awful it was. Because the Dogs are probably like, what are we watching? What's this kick is shithouse? And then that kick was shithouse, but then the bounce it was good, and the Dragons have scored. That was possibly the worst try I've ever seen in my life. Probably the worst try I've ever seen in my life. 4-0 into the Dragons with a kick to come. The kicking game from St. George tonight, in this first 6 minutes, has been abhorrent. But it's worked out. So is it abhorrent? Jeez. What are we doing, lads? What are we doing? You could argue Tyrell Sloan pushes him in the back there. I don't know if they're going to say they're going to call on that, though. I think this is probably going to be... Yeah, they're going to actually go up it. They're going to go to the bunker here. They are going to go to the bunker here. Hey, this would be real chef's kiss if this is called a no try, because it didn't deserve to be a try. Not off the back of this shove, but off the back of the kicking game of St. George. I just think it's rough. Like, I will say, I think this is a rough call, but based off of the kicks, I'm okay with it not being a try. But I will say this probably should be a try on its merit. They're going for the, like, it did, like, he is pushing him in the back, but, like, I don't think that was what the rule was for. But technically speaking, like, at the end of the day, Tyrell Sloan's coming in because the kick was so shit that he was coming inside to get the ball. The ball bounces over the top to the right. They're both switching around. I guarantee you Crichton in that same situation is doing that. It's just kind of like, I don't know. I personally don't think that was what the rule was made for, but I understand why it's been called a no try. So, 0-0 again, and the Dogs lose the ball at the 45. Reed Marnie, Biffo, James Stewart, slap him! Slap him! What a bitch! Give him a fucking uppercut! Slap him. Give him a slap. Give him a slap. Throw some hands, you cats. Throw some hands, you cats. Jaden Stewart and Reed Marnie. Well, this game is actually, like, fired up, and now it's going to be a penalty. So it was a knock on Dogs, and now it's been changed into a Dogs penalty from the little bit of a slap and tickle. Oh, no, it was just a strip. It was just an illegal steal. I thought he called knock on originally. But Reed Marnie and Jaden Stewart going for a slap tickle. Going for a biffo. Come on now. Get the handbags out. All right, penalty Dogs. Jared says that sure was something. It was something, Jared. It was definitely something. Don't know if it was a good something. Well, it definitely wasn't a good something, but it was definitely something. You're right with that. So the Dogs here, and Ari Tuala at the 31. Exciting start here. First tackle. He'll roll it back to Reed Marnie. Twist his thing, Casey. Oh, the old dick twist. The old dick twist. Bit weird that you bring that up, but really strange that you want to see a man do that to another man. Lachlan Galvin now, who'll get off to Preston at 6 again for the Dogs, 15 metres out of the line. First tackle, they roll it back to Reed Marnie, off to Jamin Salmon. Salmon off to Vili Bombili, and Vili Bombili, 5 metres out, second tackle. Both teams have had one set restart so far. Reed Marnie, he'll give it out to Jamin Salmon. Salmon out to Galvin. Galvin then to Connor Tracy. Tracy to Stephen Crichton. Crichton here to... Oh, I think he's in, Carraz. I think Carraz is in. I think he keeps his feet in bounds. We're going to have a look at this, but I'm pretty certain that Jacob Carraz has scored this. Adam G's not convinced, but he has called it a try. So the Dogs have scored here. It's going to be interesting to see if he keeps his feet in bounds, but I do think he does that. I do think he keeps them in. I do think he keeps him in. So Salmon out to Galvin. Galvin and Connor Tracy. Stephen Crichton. Wingers all over the shop. Don't know what he's doing. And it just comes down to that left foot of Kuraz. Connor Tracy. Here we go. This will show it. Kuraz stays in here. And then... Oh, yeah, he's in just. Jeez, he's in. Very close to going out, but he does stay in there, Kiraz. This has been a crazy start to this game. This has been a wild start. Mitchell says as if they call that. See, I agree with you, because I know you're referring to the shove on Crichton. I think Dragons fans are probably not happy with that. I'm actually going to go quickly have a look here on Twitter and see... I'm going to see what people are saying, because this is the most immediate... When you look, Twitter is the most immediate response. It's usually the most immediate response to calls like that. They should have just told us the Bulldogs win this one. It would have been easy just to tell us not to come. Another big team decision. Yeah, people aren't happy with it. Yeah, no way that is not a try with a question mark. That's a terrible call. Bulldogs are washed. Well, okay. Yeah, people aren't happy with it. Yeah, people are definitely not happy with that call. And the Dogs will miss the kick, so it will stay 4-0 here to Canterbury 8 minutes into the game. And our friend says, better go Doggies. Yeah, well, it's been an interesting start for the Dogs. They're very lucky to not have had a try given against them. I personally, like I was trying to say before, would have given the try to the Dragons. But at least the Dogs have scored to make it 4-0 and gone up the other end immediately. I'd love to see the Dragons win this game, but I don't think it'll happen. I doubt that it'll happen. I I did know the Dragons would turn up for a bit of a fight, but their kicking game has been so awful so far that I just don't know if they're going to be able to score based on the fact that the Dogs have got a good defense for the most part. And yeah, like it was just they've had 3 kicks in this game so far, the Dragons, in an attacking area, and all 3 of them have been awful. It's just that one of them bounced really awkwardly, and honestly probably should have been a try for the Dragons. Second tackle out to 15. Ronald says, what about the previous try for the Dragons? And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that with the apparent push, shove. I just think that's a part of the play. I don't think that's what the rule's for. The rule is for like a deliberate push to gain an advantage. I don't think that is... I don't think what we saw with that Dragons no try should have been a no try. I would argue a bit of common sense probably leaves that as a try, and that's why people disagree with it, and I disagree with it. But on the technical basis of the rule, his hands do kind of push into the back of Crichton. So on a black and white technical standpoint, sure, it's a no try, but I just don't necessarily agree with the black and white explanation of that. So Damien Cook now, he'll get this ball offloaded to Flanagan. And Flanagan at the 30, the 35, second tackle. 10 minutes gone in the first half, guys. 30 minutes to go. Hit that like button and subscribe. But if people disagree with me, let me know in the chat. Like, what are your thoughts on that no try? Do you think that it should have been Oh, gosh, David Clemmer, that's bad. Knock on from the Dragons, and the Dogs will get the ball here at the 40. That was bad. And now goes out to Stephen Crichton here on 0 tackle, and he's going to be 30 metres out now from the line first tackle. Now Reid Marnie off to Jamin Salmon. Salmon at the back here to Galvin. Galvin to Villy, Army kick out, and Villy, that's a high tackle. That's a high tackle, referee. Oh, refereeing's been a bit dodgy in this first 10 minutes, mate. I'm not going to lie. Reid Marnie out to Jamin Salmon. Salmon now to Lachlan Galvin. Galvin short ball pressing. Really nice pass, but really good defense in the end as well by Sione Finau. Now go out to Lachlan Galvin on third tackle. He's going to look for Reid Marnie. He wasn't expecting that at all. And that was a broken down attack. Fourth tackle here for the Dogs at the 5. They're obviously still getting used to Lachlan Galvin there in that halfback role rather than Toby. Reid Marnie. That's not 6 again. No, you can't call that. Lachlan Galvin kicks it through, and it's going to be a dropout. I saw the Dogs all trying to complain that was the 6 again, but it definitely wasn't. All right, so dropout coming up here from the Dragons to the Dogs. Yeah, I think that pass from Lachlan Galvin was fantastic. That kick through, yeah, I'm okay with it. It had to go well further out for Kiraz to get a chance at it, though. All right, so Gutherson to go for the short dropout here, you would assume. And that's exactly what he does. He will go 10. It's a good kick in a good area. Knocked back there by the Dogs. And that was a smart play. Just whack it back and they'll get it back here at the 30 to Lachlan Galvin. First tackle at the 20. Mitchell says, wouldn't be Galvin game without a terrible grubber. Yeah, it was a rough grubber, man. Second tackle here. Man, they got a repeat set out of it. So second tackle. Reid Marnie off to Jamin Salmon. Salmon will go for it himself, and he'll be about 2 metres out from the line. Third tackle. Third tackle. Reid Marnie out all the way to Matt Burton. Burton kicks it through here, and I think this is going to be a dropout again. Yeah, it's going to be another dropout. I didn't mind the kick there. A little bit of players all over the shop in the back play, but it'll be a dropout from the Dragons again. Ibrahim says, if we look at the rules, it is a pen, but like you said, common sense point of view, it's a try. Well, yeah, like common sense. It's like they're both adjusting their body at the immediate same time as they're coming into contact with the ball coming through. The kick was shit. The kick was over there. And then because of how shit the kick was, it actually bounced really awkwardly into a favourable area, but on the opposite side of where the players were running. So as they go to turn, if Crichton is the one on this side, and that's going to go, is that out of the full? Yeah, it's going out in the full, so it's going to be Dogs ball here at the 10. If Crichton's on this side, he's doing the same thing where they're just trying to like separate body contact to adjust their line to go out to where the ball is. Like again, on a technical standpoint, it's probably the right call, but like if you watch it, you just know that probably shouldn't be called as a shove in the back. All right, so first tackle now, 3 metres out. Jamin Salmon here at the 10. He'll give it now to Lachlan Galvin. Galvin to Viliami kick out. Viliami kick out. That was awful defence from the Dragons. That was absolutely awful. I'm pretty certain he scored. Or maybe he's been held up. No, I think they're saying he's going to get it down. It's going to be a try time there for the Dogs. Try time there for the Dogs, and that was awful defense from the Dragons. I don't know who the cone was there, the traffic cone was, but someone did absolutely nothing in the defensive line just then. Steve says it's going to be interesting with Galvin and half, Rinakama as a gun. I do like Rinakama. I think he's a good shout for the Fiji team. Good shout for the Fiji national team, especially with BKRtravel not playing. There's a spot on the wing there at the Pacific Bowl late on the year. Vili Kikau held up there, held up there, held up there. Oh, hang on here. Hang on here. I don't know. I don't think they're going to say this is a try. I don't know if they're going to be able to say this is a try here. It's on the top of the boot there. On top of the leg. They're not going to see this ball touch the ground. This is going to be a no try. Nah, that's a really good defensive play from Damien Cook. He's got his boot underneath it. Love a good traffic cone, Olivia. Yeah, well, I don't know who it was for the Dragons, but one of the players just allowed Villi to just walk around him. Hands of friends up the Doggies. Well, I don't think this is going to be a try here, but it'll be Dogs ball at the 10. You can't see Viliami Kikau get this ball down. It's great defensive work from Damien Cook in the end. Mitchell says he hasn't gotten that down. Great defense. Well, Mitchell. Well. Let's clarify. Great defense from Damien Cook. Not great defense from the Dragons, because the defense from the Dragons was absolutely horrific. But Damien Cook individually just saved a guaranteed try there. Brenton says, howdy folks, pet for the town tonight in Sydney to watch a comedian, Nikki Glazer, was on the Tom Brady roast. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I think I know. The name rings a bell. Is that the blonde bird that got absolutely... No, the brunette one. I can't remember. I don't know her, but I know of her. Anyway, no try. Third tackle of the Dogs, 5 metres out. Now, Reed Marnie, he'll go out to Jamin Salmon. Salmon goes out to Galvin. Galvin short ball to Viliami Kikau. Back with an offload to Galvin. Galvin then off to Jamin Salmon. Salmon off to Burton. Why are they trying to score on every single play here? The Dogs are trying to score on every single play. Reed Marnie out to Galvin. Galvin to Jamin Salmon. Short ball to Curran. Flat. Fit tackle now 5 metres away. Yeah, she's the blonde bird. Okay. Isn't she the one that has some significantly controversial opinions? Connor Tracy. That's good defense from the Dragons in the end. That was good defense. But the problem that I found with that set for the Dogs, they tried to score on every single play, and it's like, I get you're in the attack in 20, you get you're in the attack in 10, so it's a bit weird for me to say that, but it's like, oh jeez, that was a big hit there, and the Dragons take down the 10 on first tackle. It's like, when you're offloading the ball as much as you were, and there was nothing on offer, just take the tackle and just get them back in their defensive line and just go with a fresh new attack. I didn't think the Dogs needed to be trying to score on every single play just then. Jay says Brisbane Bulldogs today. Brisbane Bulldogs? What are you talking about? Brisbane Bulldogs? What? Jared says, but not the blonde one that got rinsed by the whole panel. Oh, not the one that's extremely controversial. Because I remember there was a blonde one who's extremely controversial, but I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure of the other one. I have seen that, Rosso. Dragons are the worst defensive team, apparently. Wrong. Who said that? That's completely incorrect. There's way worse teams. The Titans have given up 482 points. The Rabbitohs have given up 464 points. The Eels have given up 422 points. The Tigers have given up 436 points. The Cowboys have given up 531 points. The Roosters have given up 413 points. The Dragons have given up 410. They're like the 7th worst defensive team. They're not even close to the worst defensive team. They're 120 points off better defensively than the Cowboys this year. Says the commentary said that. Well, the commentary's wrong. And this is why commentary, don't just listen to them because if you listen to the commentary for that Sonny Bill Williams gal fight, they told you that Sonny Bill Williams won easily when it just wasn't the case. And that's going to go out of bounds. So it'll be a Dragons ball here at the 10. Yeah, no, that's not true at all. So again, Dragons 410. Roosters are worse off. Cowboys are way worse off. Tigers are worse off. Eels are worse off. Rabbitohs are way worse off. And Titans are way worse off. So yeah, no, they're wrong. They are very much wrong. Alright, so Dragons now will get this ball to the 15 on first tackle. Jay says, don't blame the commentary. Well, I'm not the one blaming the commentary, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they did say something like that. And Luciano Leilua to the 35. I didn't hear them say that, though, so I do feel like you're probably making that up, Casey. But with that being said, like it wouldn't surprise me. The Dragons are away here. Gutho's away. The 50, the 45, the 40, the 35. Tyrell Sloan! Go slap! And it's 4-4 with a kick to come. Nicely worked try there from the Dragons. They've been under a lot of pressure from the Dogs over the last 10 minutes. But they just went absolutely flat with a Gutho line break. And then he perfectly got the pass away to Tyrell Sloan, who he knows has some good pace. So he gave it to him early. He didn't actually run it directly into the line of Connor Tracy, who was waiting for the decision. But Tracy obviously has to go for the man with the ball. Gutho here at the 40. Again, he probably passed a little bit early for most players, but because Tyrell Sloan, you know that he's got much more speed than Colin Tracy. He's got plenty of space there on that wing to get around him because Colin Tracy's still trying to figure out whether to go for Gutho or for Tyrell Sloan on the 2-1 opportunity. He even had the ball on the inside too if he really wanted it there for Gutho, but Tyrell Sloan too fast, gets around the outside and it's a try time, and they're probably about to take the lead. About to take the lead. Kate says, Mr. Blaze is quite knowledgeable. Well, like, it doesn't mean that I'm always right, but that's a statistical one that is, like, I'm telling you the fact of it. Like, the pure facts of it. Like, they're not even close. Like, the Cowboys have given up 531 points this year through 18 games. The Dragons have played 16 games. But they're not giving up 60 points each, or 60 points and 70 points in those. No, 62 points each game to go below the Cowboys. It's just not going to happen. So, the Dragons played 18 games. The Dragons played 16 games. The Eels have played 16 games, and the Eels have only given up 422, which is only 12 points more than the Dragons with 2 less games. Actually, that's not including today's game. Okay, Jay's in on him. Jay's gone for him. So 6-4 here, the Dragons, 18 minutes into the game here. 18 minutes in, Dragons went raw. They did, Olivia. Chad says Dragons getting those points back. Well, you could make the argument they probably should be up at very minimum 10-4 right now. Oh, okay. Yeah, you are right, Jared. Maybe you're thinking of the Rob Lowe roast with Ann Coulter, who is like a Republican from memory and everyone rinsed her. Yeah, no, she's like I think she's like a devout right wing, like full tilt, and it's like I probably lean more right than left, to be fair. But with that being said, I'm super balanced. But that's the one you're talking about. She's like, yeah, she has some very strong opinions. Let's put it that way. So second tackle now at the 20, and now third tackle for the Dragons, and they will be at the 30. And now Jack DeBellin gives it out here to King Tegia. Gutho gives it out. And Sione Finau's away for the Dragons. The 50, the 45, the 40, the 35. Dragons are on here at the moment. Dragons are on here. Mr. Manhai, get a job. Dragons now at the 25. And now fourth tackle. Good offload there from Leilua. Gutho gets it off here to Damien Cook. Then to David Clemmer. Clemmer off to Kyle Flanagan. Flanagan kicks it through here for Tyrell Sloan. Has the bounce. Jethro Renakama with a good defensive play to get back and get that ball. And now the Dogs and Ari Tuala's second tackle at the 20. 20 minutes gone in the first half. 20 minutes to go. Hit that like button and subscribe. This has been a really enjoyable game so far. Haven't seen too much errors. Grass and McGrath hasn't been too much in play. Had a controversial call. Had some high-intensity football. It's been a good start to this game. Jared Farmoney says, it's all about the balance I get you. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, unfortunately, it's very difficult for people to be balanced and to accept understanding of valid points that both sides can make. But again, I do think that one side is probably a little bit more crazier than the other as we currently speak, which is very different to what it was like 20 years ago. Very different. Brenton says, is this the first stream today? Yes. Yeah, I was meant to do the Eels vs Raiders game. I set the stream up and whatnot, but I'm just still sick, man. So, like, I cut 3 games with my sickness right now would wreck me, and I've got to go help out my dad's restaurant bar tonight because he has been in hospital this week. Won't go into detail, but, like, he's not able to be the life of the party entertainer kind of deal, so I kind of need to go and help out his restaurant and bar tonight. So if I did like all 3 games and went into that, like it'd kill me with this kind of little bit of a sickness I've got. So anyway, the Dogs now will get this ball here at the 5, and it's Connor Tracy who'll bring it out to the 15 and be first tackle. Punk Travel says, who else is here because Fred's stream on Discord screwed itself? Yeah, no. So what? Free? Oh, Free. I would have expected him to be at the game. Does he not go to the Dogs games anymore? Very. Sorry, actually, Fred. Brenton Eastlick says, hopefully you shake it soon. Yeah, hopefully, mate. Like, at the end of the day, we're just sitting here watching footy. But like, when you've got like a bit of something inside, and you're talking and talking and talking and talking, it gets you. Oh, he's at the game. Oh, he's trying to stream at the game. Oh, fair enough. All right, so Reid Marnie off to Galvin, and Galvin now into the corner where it's going to be Gutherson. Oh, Preston slapped him. Oh, Gutho just got rocked by Jacob Preston. Oh boy, welcome to a court there, Gutho. Welcome, son. Welcome. Are you going to be a bartender? No, it's just about kind of like entertaining and conversating with people and whatnot. You know, because obviously like heaps of the regulars and people that go there. I won't be drinking by any means. I'm not a big drinker. Good offload there for the Dragons. Damien Cook gets it off here to Gutho, and Gutho to the 28 and 4th tackle. No, it's just about kind of keeping everyone conversating and enjoying and having fun. 5th tackle now at the 38, and Flanagan. He will kick it into the corner where Connor Tracy will pick it up at the 13. Brenton says, I'll have a few drinks for Olivia tonight. You'll have a few drinks for Olivia tonight. Why not for me, Brenton, you dog? Hey? Oh, gee whiz. Why only Olivia? What, you becoming a Broncos fan over here or something, Brenton? You jumping on the Broncos wagon for the finals, are you? Dear me. So 3rd tackle. Stephen Crichton's away here at the 40. Great tackle break there. Great tackle break. Lachlan Galvin on the inside. Lachlan Galvin with the try time for the doggy. Woof, woof. Doggy, woof, woof. Lachlan Galvin follows up nicely, but Stephen Crichton, that's all him. Like, no, I'm not going to say it's all him because it was nice from Lachlan Galvin to get that quick pace to go underneath and to get that ball there. But Stephen Crichton, yeah, you had him down for all money. But he breaks through a couple of tackles there, and then nicely worked by Lachlan Galvin to follow him up. Yeah, Crichton here at the 40 on his own side of the field. That was just awful tackling attempts there from the Dragons. And then once he broke through, you just knew someone was going to follow up. Usually you'd expect a fullback and like Connor Tracy or whatnot, but Galvin's the one who follows him up and gets a try. So the Dogs take back the lead at 8-6. Expert says, which team do you think is a dark horse that could go all the way in finals this year? Dark horse. A dark horse. Like a dark horse means that it has to come from outside the top 4. And then you've got the only teams that are within realistic range are Broncos, Panthers, Sharks, Dolphins, Manly, and the Roosters. If the Sharks click, then sure. Because I had them pre-season as the team to win the comp. So if the Sharks click, then sure. But yesterday was a good start to it, but there's still a lot more to go for them to prove themselves. If you want to claim the Panthers as a dark horse, despite the fact they've won 4 premierships in a row, then sure. But I'm not convinced on them just yet. I think they're doing well, and I think they're getting themselves back into the mix, but I need to see, like, their next 3 weeks is very easy. They play the Eels, the Titans, and the Knights. But then 3 weeks after that, they play the Dogs, the Storm, and the Raiders. So they are probably going to go on a 9-game win streak. 6 games now, and then another 3 games for the 9-game win streak. And then it will tell me about the Panthers. They get the kick here to make it 10-6. It will tell me what the Panthers are going to do based off of those next 3 games. So again, I want to remind everyone, you are going to hear a massive circle jerk for the Panthers over these next 3 weeks because they are going to beat the Eels, they are going to beat the Titans, and they are going to beat the Knights. Those 3 games, if they lose one of those games, then I'm even going to be more concerned about them. But then after those 3 games, and we finish off with the circle jerk, we are going to see them take on the Bulldogs, the Storm, and the Raiders in 3 consecutive weeks. The top 3 teams in the competition right now. So just be patient over these next 3 weeks because it's going to be intolerable for you to hear. It will be. So anyway, 10-6 here to the Dogs with 16 minutes to go the first half. Brenton, what did he say? Because Olivia's an Alco. Fair enough. And Olivia said, Renton just exposed me. Bloody Nova Castrians, mate, I tell ya. Punk Travel says, I'm so sick of the Dragons. Oh, we suck. I'm a Titans fan, man. So, I get ya. I get ya. But I also understand your perspective. So, 1 second. Third tackle with the Dogs, they'll be at the 25. No, second tackle, they get the offload away. And now third tackle at the 30 through Matt Burton. I understand your perspective because it's very different. Like, the Titans are just shit. Like, we've just been bad. Bad. So we understand that we're just bad. The Dragons are a team that can win games, but they'll also lose games. But the games they win are pretty good, but the games they lose are just like, how the fuck you lose that? You know what I mean? Like, it's the Dragons are in mediocrity stage. They are just in pure mediocrity where they're not awesome, but they're not awful. And it's kind of like what the Knights have been for a few years. It's actually kind of like what the Raiders have been for a very long time too, besides 2019. But like the Raiders have been like that for a very long time, where they're sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit, more so maybe shit, but at least they kind of flatline. The Dragons for me are in a very boring state right now, where you just don't know their future, but they aren't bad enough to have to kind of rebuild the entire club. But it's that's why I understand the perspective of Dragons fans being like, oh, we're shit, and then not insulting them, saying like, oh, come on, like I'm a Titans fan, we're last and we're always down there. Like, we have it worse off, but I understand the frustration of being in the mediocrity stage. So fifth tackle now for the Dragons, and they will kick this ball from the 35 to the 15. Connor Tracy, he'll pass it off, and Jacob Kiraz, the 20, the 25 to, well, gets actually taken back at the 20. He gets the offload away to Jethro Renakama, and Renakama to the 35. Good offload. Jared says, Dark Horse has to be the Dolphins for me to beat the Storm, Dogs and Panthers 13 plus shows when they're on as a done deal. Disagree. I will disagree with you. I think the Storm was the only great result there of the three. I think that the Dogs game, there was a bunch of excuses for both those teams. Let's not pretend like that Knights game in Perth didn't happen as well. I guess you could definitely use them as a dark horse, but they also lost to the Sharks last week. Yes, they've got players out, but ultimately the best teams are able to kind of get through with the players out. Like, you look at teams at the top, like the Panthers over the years, they're still able to win games during Origin and whatnot. So, like, I will respect the fact that they're a dark horse team. I just don't think they're going to have what it takes when it comes to the actual crunch of it all. Third tackle at the 15. But I get the score lines. I get the score lines are going to give you that confidence that they're going to go and win the whole thing. I just don't think they're ready yet. I think they're still absolutely susceptible to getting slapped in the finals. Like, I could see them getting slapped in the finals. Fourth tackle now, but I could also see a world where they go and do what you just said as well. Matt Burton here, 10 metres out. I'll reply that one in a second, TH. Because there's an argument for both sides of that. Fifth tackle. Kurt Mann off to Galvin. Galvin kicks that ball over the top. Crichton knocks it back. I think this is a knockback or is it a knock on? No, it's a knock on. No, it's a knock on. So it will be Dragons getting the ball here at the 10. Brenton says, I'll second that, Punk. Well, Brenton, you're a Knights fan. What do you mean you'll second that we suck as the Dragons fan? Brenton, what are you? You go from Nova Castra, Newcastle to Brisbane Broncos with Olivia, and then now you're a Dragons fan. What are you doing? Brenton, the Knights must be just... Oh, to be fair, they're not just hurting your feelings. They've destroyed your feelings. So I can understand the emotional distress that you are under in Newcastle. You know you're a poor team when you lose to the Gold Coast Titans twice this year. And they were up 20-0 or something against us in the game at Newcastle. So I feel for you, Brenton. I do. I feel for you. I feel for you in Newcastle. Everyone says, already beat Paramate twice. Who are you talking about? Already beat Paramate twice? Where did Para come into this? Para? What? Para? Para? What Para come into this? So first tackle now for the Dogs at the 30. 11.5 minutes to go in the first half. 10-6 for Canterbury. Punk Travel says Shane and Kyle probably still sleep in the same bed. Oh, jeez, I'm not getting involved. I'm not getting involved in this, man. Second tackle now for the Dogs at the 42. Steve says, this is great coverage. You're doing an amazing job, man. Appreciate you, mate. We stream pretty much every game here. We will be alive for the Manly-Melbourne game after this and both games tomorrow. I'm actually quite a bit sick right now too, so I appreciate that you're still enjoying what we're doing. A second tackle now for the Dogs at the 42. I've actually enjoyed this game, though. So 30 minutes gone here, guys. 10 minutes to go. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe of the first half. Short ball to Tupanua. Crunch at the 32. Third tackle. But no, I think this has been a really another big hit! Woohoo! Jaden Sewer has come in for Matt Burton. Yeah, there has been some big hits so far, said Watson, but that's because this is a rivalry game. It's just not a heated rivalry off of competition value, but it's a heated rivalry based off of historical value. So, fifth tackle now at the 15. Like last year, the Bulldogs and Dragons games were... Well, Bulldogs whooped them twice, but like the Bulldogs and Dragons games were really built up quite heavily. It's like this is starting to become another big thing. I wouldn't say the Bulldogs and Dragons have really had red-hot rivalry for a long time now, but I would say that this year and last year, this has started to be kind of forced back into the minds of people, and Bulldogs-Dragons fans are kind of going at each other a lot more. Brenton says, I'm out. Enjoy the stream, folks. Take the 2, Dragons. Take the 2. Big 2. Big 2 taken team. They love a good 2. All right, so Dragons now at the 35 on fifth tackle. 9 minutes to go the first half. Olivia says, bring back Ockenbaugh. Don't even start me. TH says, maybe Warriors are flying under the radar. So, that's going to go in the full. Oh, no, that stayed in. Oh, no, it did go in the full, they say. It did go in the full. So, it's going to be Dogs ball hit the 40 on the Dragons side of the field. Kyle Flanagan. He will kick that ball out on the full there. So, the pro to the Warriors... No, I'll go the con first. The con to the Warriors is that their attack has been putrid all year, but their defense is top 3 in the competition. Top 4. Dogs, Storm, and the Knights are top 3, and then you've got the Warriors. So their defense has been impeccable, but the problem has been their attack. And it's like Luke Metcalf's been having a great individual season, but overall, collectively, the Warriors have been a bottom 4, bottom 5 attacking team all season long. So that's the con, is that they also haven't beaten... That's where I got confused with the Dogs before, actually. The Warriors have lost to the Raiders twice. They haven't played the Dogs, and they've gotten whooped by the Storm. So the other 3 teams in the top 4 is they have not beaten a team in the top 4 just yet. So that's the biggest issue there for the Warriors. The pro, though, is that now that Tanner Boyd comes in, they've just scored 36 odd points last week against the Tigers. But 1 second, second tackle, Kurt Mann. And now the Dogs will be third tackle about 7 metres out. 6 again here for the Dogs, 7 metres out. The pro is that they scored 36 points against the Tigers. First game for Tanner Boyd in new colours. He looked pretty nice with them. So maybe that will be able to collectively make that team a better attacking team, which then you could say is a surprise team that no one's really expecting. I don't know if I can have the Warriors to win the comp this year, but the best thing for the NRL, first tackle of the Dogs, 9 metres out. The best thing for the NRL is the Bulldogs to play the Warriors in the grand final on a pure numbers metrics basis. And Viliami Kikau, passes to Jethro Rinakama. Lucky he caught that. Really actually impressive for Rinakama not to knock that ball on. But second tackle now, Kikau off to Burton. Burton hit a Galvin. Galvin with a weird step. I don't know what that was. Tupanua then. And Dogs third tackle, 10 metres away from the line. 10 metres out. Reid Marnie. Try time for the Doggies. Reid Marnie goes at himself and he will score under the post. And it will be 14-6 with a kick to come. And it's about to be 16-6 any moment now. That was nice work there from Reid Marnie. The Dogs just really jammed up the middle just then. They had 3 players, Reid Marnie, Tupanua, and there was another player to his left. And all 3 of them just kind of like combined in a rugby league version of a rugby union maul. And just kind of Reid Marnie just went through on the inside whilst those 2 guys were just kind of waiting for it there. But even Tupanua got taken out by Jaden Sewer, but Reid Marnie scores under the post. Brenton says, we're hurting. I'm drinking my sorrows away tonight. Fair enough. Fair enough. Alphonse says, a good game. Yeah, it's been a good game so far. But it was Kurt Mann as well, so they just kind of jammed through that middle section. You just didn't know whether Reid Marnie was going to get it to Tupanua or Kurt Mann, but instead he just goes at himself. And strong man. He's off to the Cowboys next year. Off to the old North Queensland. So Watson says, don't think there will be a bigger one than the one on Gutho, though. No, the Preston hit on Gutho was immense. That was immense. David says, you still reckon the Seagulls and Storm hate each other compared to years ago? Absolutely. My dad's a Manly fan, and he's been going on about them since I got here, to be fair, about how they're going to slap Melbourne or whatever. But yeah, Melbourne and Manly still hate each other. Absolutely. I don't think they'll ever not have severe hatred for each other, especially from Manly's side. Dogs get the kick. It's now 16-6 with 6 minutes to go. You've got to remember, Manly lost to the Storm. Yes, they won 40-0, which we'll get to in a second, but Manly lost in 2007 to the Melbourne Storm whilst they were over the cap. And yes, they then went and won 40-0 the year after, but you still can't ever forget being cheated out of a grand final that you watched for the entire season, right? Put it in perspective for your team, and then assume that your team gets to the grand final, and they hadn't won that decade, Manly, yet, but it had been a while since they'd won, since the game against the Knights, and then to get cheated and lose like 28-6 to a team that was well and truly over the cap. So they'll never be able to forget that year. But then the Storm side of the equation is that you've got the Battle of Brookvale, which happened in, 2011, but Manly also beat them in the biggest ever grand final scoreline that's ever happened in 40-0 against a cheating team at the Melbourne Storm. So Manly smacked them 40-0 against a cheating team, and I don't think Storm fans, however many there actually are, true Storm fans, you won't know until they suck, but whatever true Storm fans will never be able to forgive that either. So that's why those two teams will, I don't believe, unless nothing happens with the next 50 years and then this generation dies out, ultimately those two teams will despise each other forever. Fourth tackle now at the 38. Like if a team cheated the Gold Coast, if we got to the grand final for the first time ever, and we found out later on that they were cheating when they beat us, fuck, oh, I tell you. I don't know if I'd ever be able to go to sleep again. I do not know if I'd be able to ever sleep again. So, and the same thing goes to the Eels. It's just the Eels have got way more issues than just that 2009 grand final. So, first tackle of the Dragons to the 15. Jared says, similar to 2023, we had a really good year, but could not beat any of the other top four teams. Lost all games to the Storm, Broncos, and Panthers. Who knows what will happen in round 23? Yeah, correct. Yeah, correct. But again, so far this season through 20 rounds, the Warriors have not beaten a top four team. They've been absolutely crunched by the Storm, who always beat them. Lost both games to the Raiders, and haven't played the Dogs yet. Fourth tackle for the Dragons now at the 40 on their own side of the field. Clock is cooked. Thank you, Olivia, for letting me know. I'll try refresh it. Oh, no, it's not. Clock is cooked. No, it's 35 minutes. Is that not correct? 16-6, 35 minutes? No, it's correct. David says, was Cameron Smith playing that grand final? I think he was suspended. 40-0. Who cares? I'm sorry, but Cameron Smith's not stopping a result like that. It probably wouldn't have been 40-0, but it would still be a Manly victory. Connor Tracy gives it up to Anari Tuala. Olivia's cooked. Probably had a few too many already on Saturday. Well, 6:15 p.m. over there for you guys in Australia, so you know it's definitely the early part of getting that whip out and cracking on for the night on a Saturday night. All right, so Renakama rolls it back to Matt Burton. And then Connor Tracy, he'll be taken down to the 40 with a good hit from Luciano Leilua. Reid Marnie off to Jacob Kiraz, and Kiraz will be at the 50 on fourth tackle. 4 minutes left here. Smith makes it 30-0. Big whoop. I agree with that. Maybe not 30-0, maybe like a 30-6 or 30. Well, I would even honestly go like 36-12 or 36-10 kind of deal. I still think it's a resounding result regardless. You're not just... Like, Cameron Smith's the greatest player of all time, in my opinion, but ultimately I don't think he adjusts that result. Seems like a Cameron Smith issue. Was a Cameron Smith issue. And also, again, Cameron Smith was a very heavy part of the salary cap scandal. Third tackle now for the Dragons at the 25, allegedly. To protect myself. The Dragons now... Kyle Flanagan to the 40 on fourth tackle, 3 minutes to go here. Cameron Smith was suspended for 2 games due to a dangerous tackle on Sam Thaiday. Yep, part of the game. That said, they were very tired heading to the 08 grand final. Yeah, didn't they the week before beat the Sharks by like 40? Oh, that's an awful kick there from the Dragons. And it will... It's a penalty to the Dogs. That was an awful kick from the Dragons. Dragons fans, like I hate to say this, and I told you this last week, but I hate to say this. You and anyone who is below you cannot make the 8 this year. You and anyone who is below you cannot make the 8 this year. Like that, the kicking game from the Dragons has been just something that you probably have never seen before today. It's been that bad on the kicking game. And they've just given away a penalty of Flanagan taking out a player who didn't even go for the ball. Wasn't even going for it. Allegedly is such a great word. It is, because it saves you from anything, but it's like, at the end of the day, all of this stuff is public knowledge anyway. Ronald says, one more try for the Dogs before half time. Well, they're going to get an opportunity here. 2 minutes 52 to go. It's just Samuel Hughes that is being checked out right now. Sorry, not Samuel Hughes. Harry Hayes. Harry Hayes is getting himself checked out right now. Every time I see someone have like a bit of a neck injury or moving around their neck, I always have to do it myself. Greatest player of all time, you reckon? Correct. Who's better? Yes, you can argue, like, yes, the cheating scandal is there, but at the end of the day, Cameron Smith was Cameron Smith. Who's better? Olivia says, the steam coming off these rugby players is so mesmerising. Steam? I can't even see steam. What have you taken today, Olivia? What have you taken today? First you had the clockers cooked, and now you're saying there's steam coming off the players. I can't see no steam coming off the players. No dumplings here today. How about any dumplings? So first tackle now for the Dogs at the 28. And now Dogs on second tackle will be 20 metres away here from the line. Oh, 1-1 strip. That's fine. Oh, that's his ball. Yeah, it's a switch. It's Dragons ball at 20. Good work there on the Dragons. Mitchell says, we all know Scott Prince is better than Smith. No, Preston Campbell's the greatest Titans player of all time. And that's a penalty to the Dragons. They take a quick tap and they're away. They take a quick tap and Jacob Little does well, gives it out, left-hand side. Dragons still going and taken down. What? You allowed it to play on, Adam G? They're saying Blake Laurie was the man in front, but Adam G, you allowed it to play on. You said play on. So once, like, sure, okay, it's the right call, but at the end of the day, you played it on. You allowed the ball to go 15 metres before then bringing it back. I'm watching Union. Okay, fair enough, because these guys definitely aren't. There's no steam coming off these guys. Colin says, we know who the ref tipped for this game. Well, the Dogs have been the better team, but with that being said, I do think the Dragons should have been given that first try to Tyrell Sloan. Right-hand side, Tyrell Sloan's away here. Tyrell Sloan to 40, to 35. And cuts back onto the inside, 30 metres out. If the Dragons score here, it's huge. But with that being said, the Dogs have been the better team. The Dragons' kicking game has been just horrific. Third tackle. And Hamish Stewart is 28 metres away here from the line. Ah, you bought a sniffy jar, Olivia. Do you get a big one or you get one of the small ones? 6 again for the Dragons, 15 out, minute 12 to go. Damien Cook off to Kyle Flanagan. Flanagan now to King Tagia. And King Tagia is 10 metres out here from the line, second tackle. Now, Gutherson, quick play, Hamish Stewart, 5 metres away from the line, third tackle, 57 seconds left of the first half. And Jacob Little, King Tagia, off to Flanagan. Flanagan short ball, Jaden Sewer, he'll be 8 metres away from the line on fourth tackle, 45 seconds left now. And that's a penalty. Do you take the free 2 points here? You go down by 8, but do you take the 2 points here or do you go for the try? I think they're going to go for the try. A lot of teams would still... Yeah, they are going to take the 2. Yeah, they are going to take the 2. So they're going to go down by 8 points here. They're not getting the approval of the crowd. Well, kind of, who gives a shit about that? Because at the end of the day, there's 30 seconds to go of the first half. There's still 40 minutes to go. If you don't score there, people are probably like, why didn't you take the free 2 points on offer? You're now down by 8 rather than down by 10. It's not a drastic difference, but it might prove to be a big difference later on in the game. Do the smart thing, take the 2. Well, they are taking the 2. Sean says, Timu Drake, why are we on fraud watch? There's no way that I'm being told that I'm a lookalike of Drake. There's no way. I've never heard that before, Timu Drake. But if you're talking about the Bulldogs, your fans begged for them to go on there. I didn't necessarily want to put them on there. Your fans, Bulldogs fans, wanted them. But after this game, if they win this game, they'll be off it. But your fans begged me on this channel to put them on for a watch. David says, yep, got to stop drinking that bong water. I mean, Cameron Smith's played well over 400 games without missing a game. Correct. Won Dally M's, won multiple premierships, won Australia, was a part of the 8 in a row. Captain. No, can't really, it's difficult to argue. Alright, so the Dragons here to make it an 8-point game, and they will do it just. Yeah, they do get the kick. So it is a 16-8 ball game to the Bulldogs, with the second half still to come. Let's go through some of these stats here at halftime, with it being an 8-point game. The Bulldogs do deserve the lead. The Dragons probably were ripped off of a try, but at the end of the day, the Dogs do deserve the lead here. So obviously, guys, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you are new around here, and let's get into the team stats. So possession-wise, Dogs 57%, the Dragons at 43%. The Dogs have had 16 minutes and 11 with the ball in hand, and time possession for the Dragons is 12 minutes 30. Now, the completion rate here for both teams is actually phenomenal. It's actually really good. Anything above 80% is very good, but anything above 90% is incredible, and they're both above 90%. The Dogs are at 91% of 22 from 24, whilst the Dragons are at 94% from 16 from 17. So not many errors happening in this game from either of these two teams, which is why it has been such an exciting game, because you're not just seeing drop ball here, drop ball there. You compare that to last week with the Dogs game when they played the Cowboys. The Dogs had 15 errors, the Cowboys had 17 errors, and it was just disgraceful. This has seen 3 errors in the first half. 3 errors in the first half across both teams. In the first half last week, there was about 19 errors between the both teams. So that's a really good completion rate from both the Dragons and the Dogs. And the Dogs have had 108 runs compared to the Dragons' 76. And the Dogs have had 1,071 run meters. These will update at halftime. They've taken 11 meters off. So 1,060 run meters at halftime through 107 runs. Whilst the Dragons are at 759 through 76 runs. Now, to try and equate it on the pure numbers, the Dogs are absolutely slapping them in the middle. But if you try to equate it with an average of 10 meters per run, 76 to 108 is 86, 90. It's 32 runs difference, so 10 meters on average, and then you times it, obviously you have 32, so that's 320 meters, so 859, 959, 1059, about 1083 is what the Dragons would be if they had the same amount of ball as what the Dogs have had there on that basis, which is pretty much the exact same as the Dogs there of 1,078. So if you try to equate it and the Dragons had the same amount of ball, then the Dragons would be literally 5 meters in front of the Dogs. But on the pure basis of what we're seeing right now, the Dragons are well and truly behind in the run meters department. Now, post-contact meters is 333 for the Dogs, 262 for the Dragons. So even if you try to equate that, the Dogs are in front. It's a very difficult metric to read post-contact. It's very different to run meters. But even if you tried to equate that, the Dragons wouldn't be. They'd probably be around the 310 mark, if that. So 333 to 262. Or 333 to probably around 310 or so. The Dogs are still well and truly in the lead of the post-contact. Line breaks is 4-2 Dogs. Tackle breaks is 17-13 Dogs. So quite a few missed tackles there from the Dragon side of the field. Now, average set distance is very similar here. So anything under 25 is, you turn the stream off. It's just a ridiculous game. It's pathetic. Anything from 25 to 30 is, you wouldn't have spitted it. It's disgusting. 30 to 35 is very underwhelming. 35 to 40 is average, the flatline marker. 40 to 45 is great. 45 to 50, 35 to 40 is average, flatline. 40 to 45 is great. 45 to 50 is fantastic. And 50 plus is incredible. It's perfect. The Dogs are at 44.92 and the Dragons are at 44.69. So basically the exact same amount of meters per set on average. And that's why we try to equate the run meters with the runs. That's why we say, yes, there's 32 runs of a gap there between the Dogs and the Dragons, and you try to give them that 10 meters on average per run, which then makes sense in regards to the average set distance here. And the Dragons were 5 meters in front of the Dogs, and that's why they're both pretty much at the exact same here for the average set distance. So they're on the extremely high end of a very good average set. Every set they're doing very good with from the both Dogs and also the Dragons at 44.92 and 44.69. Now, the average play the ball speed for the Dogs is 3.65 and the Dragons is 3.59, which is on the slower end for both teams. Dogs definitely on the very, very slower end, and the Dragons at a similar very, very slow end as well. It's under the 3.60, but it's not fast play the ball speeds by either of these two teams here today. Offloads is 6.5 from the Dogs. Then you've got the forced dropouts of 2-0 from the Dogs. Kick defusal is 50% for Canterbury, 75% for St. George. And then you go to the defense. Now, the flatline marker of the effective tackle percentage is 88%. You need to be hitting 88% for it to be a solid average kind of, that's what you expect, half of defense. 88 to 90% is solid. 90% and above is perfect, incredible first half. And then 85 to 88% is very underwhelming. Anything under 85% is awful. The Dogs are at 86.93%, so they're not hitting the marker of the 88%. They're kind of flatlining just underneath the the marker there, so it's not a great defensive first half. The 153 tackles for 13 missed tackles and 10 ineffective shows that, though. 23 bad tackles across the first half and only 153 tackles made is why that is such low. They are still missing quite a few tackles, considering that they haven't actually had to make a great deal of tackles. And the 10 ineffective is what really brings it up as well. So 23 bad tackles for 153 tackles made. And then for the Dragons, they're on 86.43, so they're just underneath where the Dogs are at too. So they're both in the underwhelming category. But the Dragons have made more tackles at 191 for 17 missed tackles and 13 ineffective. So these two teams are playing very similarly in a lot of ways here. It's just the quality of the Dogs is what's bringing the scoreline in front for them, and that's why they still deserve this lead here. But at the end of the day, you're looking at all these stats so far, and they're all very similar across both of these teams. It's not like the Dragons are getting absolutely beaten to shit. They are at a very similar rate, because 191 tackles made for the Dragons, 153 for the Bulldogs. If you try to equate that, 13 missed tackles to 17, you're probably going to see a similar amount. If not, the Dogs might even have like 18, but that's just an opinion there. But 17, 18 for the Dogs, if you put that 191 tackles, and the ineffective would probably bump up from 10 to the same amount of 13, 14 there for the Dragons. So they're both defending at a very similar rate here. Negative plays, 3 errors apiece. So there's actually 6 errors here, but 3 errors apiece is really good. If you're getting anything under 5 errors and a half, that's very good. And they're both underneath that at 3 errors apiece. And then you've got the penalties conceded of 3-2 Dragons. Ruck infringements is 3-1 Dragons. And then inside 10 metres is 2-1 Dragons. So again, to quickly go and give a bit of a summary of all those stats, it's a very similar game. Both teams are very good completion rate. The run meters are very similar if you equate it, but currently, because the Dogs have all the possession, they've got a lot more run meters. But if you saw the Dragons get the same amount of possession, you'd see a similar amount for them. Post contact, again, the Dogs lead that. The defense is very similar. The average set distance is pretty much the exact same. The play the ball speed is pretty much the exact same. The offloads are the exact same. The kick defusal isn't great for either team necessarily. And they're both giving up the exact same amount of errors, very similar amount of penalties. And it's just the ruck infringements and inside 10s that are kind of killing the Dragons a little bit. So there you go. That's the halftime stats. And you can understand why it's a close game without being... I've enjoyed this game. I'll be honest. I have enjoyed this game. Hedwig says Bulldogs 13 plus. Maybe, mate. Maybe. But the Dragons aren't out of this. The Dragons aren't out of this at all. It's a good game. The Dragons are in last chance season. Give me one sec. The Dragons aren't out of this at all. It's actually a really good game, but if the Dragons lose this, their season's completely done. They're not making the 8 by any means. If they win this, they're still probably not making the 8, but there's still a relative chance, but their points differential is just not good enough. It's just simply not good enough. And if I quickly go through the Dragons run home, again, let's just, for the sake of the argument, give the Dragons the win here. They go to 20 points, which is 2 points behind the Roosters, Seagulls, and Dolphins. Dolphins have a plus 169. They've already played and won this week. The Roosters have already played this week, and they lost to the Sharks. They're on plus 8, and Manly, they play the Storm tonight. They're on plus 58. We will be live streaming that game. So if the Dragons win this, there'd still be 2 points behind them. But ultimately, they're not going to win this game by a big margin. So at minus 56, they're going to win this game by, if for the sake of the argument, 6 points, they're minus 50. There's still 58 points differential behind the Roosters. They would still be currently about 94 to 100 points behind Manly. And you don't even want to think about the Dolphins. That's nearly 200 points differential difference. So although there'd be 2 points technically away from those teams, realistically, they're actually 4 points. And there's only 6 games to go after today. There's only 6 games to go, so that'd be 4 points, which is 2 games, and have those. And the Dolphins still have a bye. The Dolphins still have a bye to come. So do the Sharks. So I think that even with a win, the Dragons are done here. That's why I said last week the Dragons and below are all done. I would honestly give the Dragons and below a 0% chance to make the finals. And that's not to be a dick, that's just based off of the statistics there, based off of what we see, and based off of the teams that are already kind of there, and especially if Manly win today. If Manly beat the Storm today, they go to 24 points alongside the Sharks, the Dolphins will drop into 9th, and then you've got the 9th place team effectively 4 points away from you with a plus 169 points differential. And because I include the bye there. So effectively 4 points away from you in 9th, and a points differential about 200 better than you. So I just can't see the Dragons making the 8. Fairgrow Freestyle says, go to Broncos, Queensland. Get around Queensland, Des. Go Queenslander! Steve says you're doing the rugby tonight. Can't, mate. I got the Storm versus Manly. I would love to do it. I really want to watch the Wallabies versus British and Irish Lions, but at the end of the day, we're a very consistent channel here with rugby league content, and it wouldn't really make sense for me not to do the Manly-Melbourne game in such a key point of the season to do that. So I would love to do it, but I just can't. Proud we're a jury boys to go to Dogs. Olivia says there's currently a rooster, a real life one, invading the field in Hamilton right now. Someone's probably brought in, only New Zealand. As in like an actual rooster, like an actual one. Like an actual rooster. Cruxy says, geez, Carl Flanagan sucks ass. Anyone want him? I'll pay you to take him. Yeah, he's had a real rough first half, that's for sure. He has had a real rough first half. There's no debating that. But then again, you guys, well, Ben Hunt's not exactly lit up the world post-Dragons. Infinite Kiwi says, dang Kiwis. What's with the Kiwis? Oh, in regards to the rooster. Ball Collector says, this is a great way to follow the game. We're not able to watch. Had to cut out a bunch of subscriptions I have, and KO had to go. No, I get you, man. You know, it's especially when you're a sport fan, right? You always have like people like myself. You've got KO, where I'm in Vietnam, so I don't watch on KO. Actually, effectively watch NRL.com is, but you got KO, and then if you want to watch the Premier League, you have to watch it on like Optus, and then if you want to watch Rugby Union, you got to watch it on Stan. You know, the NFL has its own category, NBA has its individual category, hockey has the same thing, baseball has its own one, and usually you just kind of stick to your own team because it's 162 games in a season per team. So yeah, if you I'm glad you enjoy, mate, because we do our best here, but you won't always agree with my opinions. You won't always agree with them, but at the end of the day, I'm always open for the conversation if people disagree with it. Infinite Kiwi says Prob was a French supporter. Either way, funny as. How is that game going, by the way? Are the Kiwis winning, or is it the French? Because they're usually very good games between. They're usually very good games between New Zealand and France. Yes, a real life rooster. Well, it's probably from last night. The Roosters are a bit headless chicken at the moment after last night's loss to the Cronulla Sharks. 22 New Zealand, 19 France. There you go. It's a very good game, yeah. Imagine checking that bag, no alcohol, just a rooster. Well, I don't know if you guys know that the shirt that I'm wearing right now is my Chicago Cubbies in the baseball, and there was a curse over the Cubs. This is a true story. This is 100% fact. You can Google it for verification. But if you don't know, the Cubs went from 1908 to 2016 not winning a World Series. So a full 108-year-long drought where they didn't win jack shit. And they're a very big and well-renowned team in America, but they just never were able to get it. Now, there's the bleachers, which is like the back where obviously you hit the home runs. That's all the bleachers. And they called that Murphy's Bleachers. Now, Murphy is the name of a billy goat. And the reason that it was changed to Murphy's Bleachers because in I think it was 1946 or around the mid to late 40s or maybe early 50s or something, the Cubs the Cubs got into the World Series, but they wouldn't allow a man in with his billy goat. He wanted to come into the bleachers with his billy goat, but they refused him and said, "No, you can't bring your billy goat in." And he put like this massive gypsy curse or whatever on the Cubs. Anyway, long story short, lot of things over time kind of lent in with that, and people believed that, and there was a lot of like instances where people were like, this fucking billy goat, mate, like it was all the billy goat's fault. Anyway, the Cubs decided they ended up like paying that guy's family 50, 60 years onwards. They called Murphy's Bleachers, like all these things to kind of rectify this situation of not letting in this damn billy goat in, this little goat, because this goat. Anyway, after all that was done, they actually went and won. Once the family actually said, no, we forgive you, it's all good, they actually went and won in 2016. So it's just a funny animal story with the Cubs. Very funny. All Banger says, I don't like this game. We don't like you because it's a great game. It's a great game. Have you decided to become an adult after last night? All Bangers? Have you decided to grow up a little bit, or are you still acting like a little child? Olivia says, we've already won the series, so we are letting some of our other boys in. Fair enough. Giga says, imagine paying $20 a month just to watch the Colorado Rockies. The Colorado Rockies, mate. Gee whiz. Oh, mate. You probably say that out of basis. Are you a Rockies fan? Is that why you said that? I would love to go to Coors Field. Like, going to the Rockies Stadium would be awesome. But, yeah, they are a rough team to watch, mate. And then again, at least they got the Nuggets there. At least I got the Nuggets. But that is funny. Imagine paying 20 months just to watch the Colorado Rockies. Yikes. Infinite Kiwi says, 100 years don't lie. Wow, crazy story. Yeah, no, it's true. But if you want even a crazy story, which I have spoken about before here, go and check out the Steve Bartman story. You type in Steve Bartman, a bloke who had to change his name, change his whole livelihood, change everything because he didn't cost the Cubs a playoff spot, but it was a big part of a situation that happened in the early 2000s. If you want an enjoyable documentary, go watch that documentary. It's crazy, man. Don't piss off people in Chicago with their sport, that's for sure. Anyway, second half has started. Here's second tackle for the Dragons. They're up to 22, 39 and a half minutes to go of the game. Hit that like button and subscribe. It's only only an 8-point game here. Dogs are fighting to be fair, if they lost this game here, the Dogs, they aren't guaranteed for the top 4. So they have to win this game too. They aren't guaranteed for the top 4 because they've still got to play the Warriors and the Storm and whatnot. The Broncos and the Panthers are breathing down that top 4 neck right now. So the Dogs aren't in a easy position. So they do still need to absolutely win this game. They're not going to win the minor premiership for mine, but they do still absolutely need to win this game. So first tackle here for the Dogs, and they're going to be at the 20 on their own side of the field. Galvin off to Jethro Renakama to the 25 on second tackle. Kicker says, yeah, we're almost at 25 wins. Mate, I'm not a White Sox fan, but I've watched plenty of White Sox baseball, and I don't have a problem with the Sox. They were actually my first ever baseball game I went to at Guaranteed Rate Field. But yeah, it's tough watching teams like that, man. It is tough watching teams like that. But the Dogs will kick it up, and the Dragons will get it at the 15, taking down first tackle. Craxy says, I don't like this game, to be fair, but that's most Dragons games besides 6 this year. Yeah, I'd say as a neutral, this has been a really enjoyable game to watch. But as a Dragons fan, sure. But then again, no, as a neutral, Titans games are awful too. Third tackle here at the 25. But especially when you're losing to one of your biggest rivals, of course you're gonna say you're not enjoying the game. All right, so they're going to bring this ball back here. I hate when referees do that. He literally didn't go off the mark. The mark was the same. And even if he did walk back a little bit, he was still on the exact same mark that he blew the whistle for. Jeez. I like that Rabbitohs game. Looking forward to Manly Storm. Okay. So first tackle now at the 40. Are you a Rabbitohs fan? How did you like that game? How did you like that game? Yeah, Manly Storm should be a cracker, but how did you like that game? So, Reid Marnie at second tackle. He's at the halfway point. Nice little dinky run up through the middle. 47 tackle in opposition half for the Dogs. 18 for the Dragons. They haven't been in the attacking half much. 6. Oh, no, 6 again. I thought they were going to call 6 again. Beesman, what a goat. Screw that damn well Billy goat, mate. We've already won now, so now I'll say Murphy. Oh, yeah. How about that? Now they get the set restart here for the Dogs. It's going to be first tackle at the 25. You know, imagine going 108 years because of a damn well Billy goat. Imagine going 108 years because of that. So first tackle now at the 22. Off to Kurt Mann. Kurt Mann, short ball. That's a forward pass. Short ball, though. That's a forward pass. So Dragons will get the ball here at the 15. Ben says, what about John Safran and the Voodoo Curse on the Socceroos? So I know about this, but I don't know it in depth. Explain it here as well. I know about this curse. This was obviously a bit before my time. But I don't know deeply about this comparatively. Craxy says, I hear people say be happy with the fight and the fact they win it. I hate doing that. They should be in every game. Be happy with the fight? Nah, bullshit. I've been like that for the Titans for a long time, and I've come to the realization that mollycoddling your team, be respectful towards your team, but also because it's your team. But also, if you need to criticize, you need to criticize. At the end of the day, you're not less of a fan just because you have critical opinion about your team. So third tackle now for the Dragons to the 40. And penalty. That'll be a penalty. Oh no, they called 6 again because he's just outside. Oh, he's 41 metres out. If he was literally 1 metre behind, it would have been a penalty, but instead it's just a 6 again because it's outside the 40. Allbangers, Will Kennedy's... No, he's not, mate. No, he's not. I've got to be honest with you, Allbangers. Last night you came in with some awful takes, and you've definitely carried it through. Benjamin Cox says, sorry, I've rocked up late. If you don't mind me asking on what you think about the Walker boys possibly coaching the Titans. We'll talk more so tomorrow about the Titans situation with the Walker brothers. But, mate, at this point, I just want milk that tastes like real milk, if that gives you the answer you're looking for. Oh, back on the inside here, and Garth will be at 35 minutes out, third tackle. Probably speak more about that tomorrow, man, when the Titans game versus the Tigers, because we're probably going to disappoint yet again, so we need something to talk about. Fourth tackle, Kyle Flanagan gives it off to Emre Gula, and Gula will be 10 metres away from the line on fifth tackle. But like I said, I just want milk to taste like real milk. I don't really care at this point. I just want to see my team not finish in the bottom four for the first time in history. And that was awful from the Dragons, so a fifth tackle switch over. They didn't even kick it. They didn't even kick it. And Sloan was unmarked as well. Sloan was unmarked, but didn't pass it out to him. 34 minutes left, and it will be Dogs at the 13. Jethro Rinakama. Jeez, big hit there from Blake Laurie. And Rinakama. Oh, Burton's trying to have a bit of a push and shove. Oh, Burton! He finds a bit of a gap and taking out the 25. Yeah, big update, man, Jay. Massive updates. I couldn't sleep last night until I got the updates. Third tackle now for the Dogs at the 38. Oh, they're trying to go for a strip here. No, they can't get it. You'd argue 6 again should be coming up. Like, I get he's trying to go for the strip, but at the end of the day, he slowed down to play the ball. I just want Des Hasler to leave the club, top 8 if they get rid of him. Disagree. I think this is far deeper than Des Hasler. I don't necessarily agree or disagree. I don't necessarily think that Des Hasler should stay. I'm just saying that it's not just Des the problem with this club. It's the club doesn't ever take accountability for themselves internally. But I've said that to death in the Titan streams. Good call, Joe. Mitchell says, shut up, bird, you cat. I don't know why he was having a crack just then. So the Dragons now, they'll bring this ball out here to the 15 on second tackle. Punk travels, I'm waiting for a late steam train, and now I don't know what that is, but now this terrible game. This is an enjoyable game. It's a penalty to the Dragons. I'm enjoying this game. People watching right now, I'm seeing a couple of comments saying that this is a really not fun game. Is this just the Dragons fans saying it, or is this like a common consensus? Because for me, I actually think this is a fun game to watch right now. It's close. Both teams are playing very similarly. The Dogs are a little bit better for sure, but at the end of the day, it's a close game. The Dragons are fighting for their season. The Dogs are, ultimately fighting to stay top 4, even though they've still got a bit of a gap there. I actually have been liking the game. So first tackle now for the Dragons, the 42. Yeah, I agree, Brocky. It's a good game. Damien Cook out to Flanagan. Flanagan now to Moses Sully, and Sully will be at the 40 on second tackle. Jared Funmoney says, I must have missed an interesting stream last night with a couple of those takes. Oh, yeah. No, they were great. And then I got called an Alex Johnson hater because I said that Alex Johnson doesn't usually score many tries as a fullback, which is true. It's a fact. Dragons here. Here's a chance. King Togia, 10 metres out, fourth tackle. And then Alex Johnson scored in the very last seconds. Dragons here, right-hand side. Gutherson gives it out to Flanagan. Flanagan steps inside. Oh, that wasn't great, Flano. But anyway, he gets the offload away. And Jaden Silver gets it off to Damien Cook. Damien Cook out of the right-hand side. Damien Cook goes out again. And there'll be 5 metres out, fifth tackle. Fifth tackle. Damien Cook very slowly trying to get up here. He's milking something. So fifth tackle. Gutho off to Flanagan. He kicks that ball up in a decent... No, that's not on Flanagan. No, bullshit. That's not on Flanagan. That's on a lazy Dragons attempt at the ball there. Don't blame Flanagan for that kick. That was in an area where a Dragon could have at least gone up and tried to hit the ball back. But I guarantee you Flanagan gets the blame for that. It wasn't Flanagan's fault. That was a very lethargic and lazy Dragons attack just then. But yeah, so I said, someone asked me about will Alex Johnson score, and I gave them an honest opinion early on in the game. I said, like, Alex Johnson being fullback for Latrell Mitchell, Johnson doesn't usually score at fullback, whether it be for Papua New Guinea or for the Rabbitohs. It's not a usual thing. Like, could it happen? Sure. Like, of course it could happen, but it's just not a usual thing. And then literally on the 80th minute, he goes and scores, and I'm happy for it, because at the end of the day, I want to witness history and him become the highest try scorer of all time. And then I started getting called a hater, saying like, hate Alex Johnson, and I was bagging him and saying that he was never going to score, and it's like, that's never what I said at all at any stage. Never what I said. Just said it's unlikely, but doesn't mean that it's not possible. But then again, apparently I'm a Tigers hater too, because I said they're in a development stage trying to get out of where they've been for the last few years. So I'm a hater of everyone at this point. So 4 tackle now for the Dragons, and they're at the 35. And they go to the left-hand side here. Here's a chance. No, they'll get the offload away. Gutho. Wow, great offload. 18 metres away now. 5th tackle. And it's a penalty here to the Dragons. It's a penalty for a high tackle. Well, I don't think they're going to do it, but they could actually bring this game within 2 points if they went for the 2-point penalty. Be more fun if the Dragons score next. I agree, Jay, but I do think it's close enough. It's super close. Middlesex Dragons could use Blake Ferguson. Blake Ferguson's got me blocked on TikTok because I suggested that I asked him where Josh Dugan was on one of his TikTok streams. And I can't remember what he said. This was like last year. I asked him where Josh Dugan was, and he said something, which wasn't bad, but I asked him, when are you guys getting on the cruises again? And then I got blocked. So the Dragons now, 2nd tackle. They will be 3 metres away here from the line. Here's a chance for them to get right back into the game. It wasn't even that bad. I was just asking when he's getting on the cruises again with Josh Dugan. So Jack DeBellin, he'll be 8 metres out from the line, 3rd tackle. Jacob Little goes right to King Tagia. He's got Flanagan. Good pass. Moses Sully with the try time of the Dragons. And they are back in this game. Try time of the Dragons. And it is 16-12 with a kick to come. And that was strong from Sully. It was a good pass from Cole Flanagan. Good pass. Yeah, Sully, that was really strong from him to be able to find that line. From hooker in the middle, Jacob Little off to King Tagia, then to Flanagan. And Flanagan has an option of 4 players, but he goes the cutout pass inside to Moses Sully, who just is able to get past Connor Tracy and put the ball over the line. It's a very strong try there from Moses Sully, and a great setup from St. George. Again, I don't think it's happening, but with that being said, they are technically keeping their season alive at the moment. Jared Farmoni says, Blaze has an honest opinion about a team with neutral feelings. Some random person joined the stream for the first time. Wow, you are such a hater. How dare you? It happens a lot. It happens a lot, man. It happens a lot, mate. But that's what's going to happen. It's just like, again, so 16-12 Dogs. Again, it's like the Sonny Williams versus Gal fight. Like, I'm giving my honest opinion about, like, I thought Gal was doing the better. I thought that Gal was winning majority of the rounds except for 2 and maybe 7 or 8. And then by the end of it, I had, like, all these people saying, oh, you're biased, you just hate Sonny Bill. And I don't. I know his sister. Like, I'm friends with his sister, Niall. Like, I don't have any negative feelings towards Sonny Bill. I was just giving my genuine opinions about the about the game, about the fight. And then everyone was calling me biased, and I was so validated when the judges scored the same thing. But all right, Cole Flanagan here to try and bring it within 2. If he misses this, that 2-point was actually really crucial. That penalty just before half time. Either way, they'll only be down by 2 if he gets this. And he missed it. So it's 16-12 with 27.5 minutes to go of the game. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you're new, Andy. Punk Travel says, last year against the Dolphins, Flanagan missed 10 metres in front of the goal. Since then, I've hated him. Well, you're not going to be happy with what I just told you, that he missed that kick. Again, though, that is a great try assist there from Flanagan. He had 4 players on his outside. He had the option to go underneath to Gutho, or he had the option to go short or far out wide, which was never the play. But he made the perfect decision to get a cutout ball across to Moses Sully, who was in the middle of the 2 guys on his on the left and right, and also in front of Gutho. So he had a 4-choice option, and he made the right decision. He's slowly redeeming himself, I reckon, slowly. I don't know if he's necessarily redeeming himself, Cole Flanagan, but I do think the hate is very forced overall. I think the excessive hate is forced, sorry. I do think criticism is absolutely necessary. I do think the Dragons have either the worst or the second worst halves. Jacob Little will get this ball to the 40. I do think they have the second worst halves combination, if not the worst halves combination. Penalty to the Dragons here at the 40. This game is changing here, Dogs. You've got to get a hold of this again. You've got to get a hold of this now. This game is changing. So, yeah, I think they do have a bad halves combination, and I think that Cole Flanagan is a big issue there. However, I do think that the excessive hate is just ridiculous at this point. And I understand frustration. I understand, not liking the team, but, like, he cops a lot online. Emre Gula, he'll be at the 33. Bob James says, Dragons go do a show me the money try celebration for Tuipulotu since he's not here and he did it against the Dogs. Yeah, that'd be good. Gutho here. Gutho at the 20. It's still first tackle, and now it's going to be second tackle, 18 metres away. The Dragons can take the lead here if they score, which would be a big turn of events here. Blake Laurie, he's 10 metres out from the line on third tackle. Jacob Little, he gets it to Jack DeBellin. DeBellin now to Kyle Flanagan. Flanagan underneath to Jaden Sewer, and Sewer's going to be 8 metres away. Gets the offload away to Emre Gula. Emre Gula steps and throws the ball to Grassy McGrath, but it goes backwards. King Tagia at the 15. And they're 10 metres out for tackle. Out to DeBellin. DeBellin. Here's a chance here for the Dragons. Gutho. Tyrell Nacio Finau! He scored! He has scored. Sione Finau has scored a try for the Dragons. And it's 16-16 with a kick to come. 16-16 with a kick to come. The Dragons have just gone bang, bang, boop, uppercut, slap, see you later. Sione Finau with the try for the Dragons, and they have taken the game to the Dogs here in the second half, and it is currently a tied game, and if they get this kick from the left-hand sideline, they are taking the lead, which is why that 2-point penalty right before half-time has come in quite clutch right now. Broggie's boys is try time, bing bong, mudda bish. What a game. It is a great game. This is what I was saying. It's a good game. Mitchell says New South Wales lost when they didn't select Little. Well, I think the Little is the better player between him and Damien Cook. I think 5 years ago, Damien Cook was one of the best hookers in the game, but this isn't 5 years ago now, and I didn't understand why Jacob Little isn't the starting hooker this year, and I don't understand why they signed Damien Cook, to be completely honest with you. But that's strong there from Sione Finau. Jacob Kiraz is a strong player. He had 3 players in Crichton, Stephen Crichton, Colin Tracy, and also Jacob Kiraz coming across with a tackle on that sideline, yet he was strong enough to get that ball down. Wowee. God bless him, man. He does look like he's grabbing at his shoulder here. He's had a try, 2 line breaks, 10 runs for 88 metres tonight. It's a good game from Sione Finau. Jack Kirkland says, watching the stream to cheer me up because my friend passed away this morning from mental health problems. Oh, much love, man, your way. Obviously, that sucks to hear, but much love to you and all the people involved. So, 24 minutes to go here of the game. Oh, well, at least the Broncos got a win for you this week. It was a good game with the bye. Very good game for the bye. The bye gave it a good crack, though. Like, it was 25-24, but the Broncos did come out in the end. All right, so Flanagan here. Very difficult kick here right from the sideline. And... oh! He slaps this one through. Wow, the Dragons take the lead at 18-16. 24 minutes to go here, guys. 24 minutes to go here of this game. Here we go. Here we go. This is a great game, man. It really is. Bing bong, mada bing. Mada bing? Bing bong, mada bish. Bing bong, mada bish. There, Sir Benjamin. Mada says kick from the sideline should redeem himself. Punk. To be fair, his second half has been alright. His first half was abhorrent, but his second half's been alright. So Dragons will receive this ball 2 metres out here from their own line. I did hear the Eels gave it a good crack against the Raiders today. They were up at half-time, the Eels, but the Raiders ended up whooping them 40-16, I think it was. Alright, Dragons now. They'll be at the 22 on second tackle. Still 24 minutes left here. The Dragons keeping their season just on the edge of survival. Just on the edge of survival. 4 tackle now at the 45. Jack Famoni says, good to have you here, Jack. Prayers out to you, man. Absolutely. Pop it back into place and she'll be right. It's always the way. Just give it a bit of a click. Give it a bit of a click. Click, clack. Fit tackle and King Tagia. That's a pretty average kick, but it's a good chase here for... oh, Colin Tracy on the run. Brings it to the 33. He picked it up at the 20, but on the run. Speeds to McGee over there. Speedy Gonzalez. Colin Tracy, great run. Second tackle now for the Dogs at the 45. That can be a real big momentum adjuster, that. Huge momentum adjuster with that strong carry back for Colin Tracy. Okay, there's only a 2-point game here, though. Aloy says, let's go to Dragons. And now the Dogs at the 40 on 4 tackle. Benjamin says, yeah, boy. Mitch says, that's right. 6 in a row now, Olivia says, yes, but against who? Fair tackle here at the 33. Fair tackle. And Reed Marnie off to Matt Burton. Burton now, he'll whack that ball up. It's a good kick and a good area that can put some pressure on here. Dragons drop it, goes backwards though. And then Gutho gets the ball at the 5. I wasn't going to mention it, but it has been a while since we've heard from Daz. No, Daz was here last night. Daz would be at this game though. Daz would be at a core. Second tackle now for the Dragons at the 13. Don't forget, we will be live for Manly versus Melbourne down there at Amy Park right after this. Comment in the chat right now who you're going for. Are you getting around the Dragons or are you getting around the Dogs here? Dragons trying to survive for the season on the very last legs of their season. Dogs are trying to keep themselves away from being in the top 4 battle with the Broncos, the Panthers, and the Warriors. So fifth tackle out to 40. If the Dogs lose this game, it's just between the Raiders and the Storm for the minor premiership. It'd be too much of a hard task basket. Raiders have a bye to go. Dogs have no more byes. The Raiders would be up by 4 points on the Dogs. There's only 6 games to go after this. It just wouldn't be happening. So the Dogs have to win this to keep themselves even with a minor opportunity at that minor premiership. But the Dragons, if they lose, they are completely done and dusted for the year. Dogs now, third tackle. They will be at the 45 on their own side of the field. Spartacus is coming to Dogs. That's what makes sense. He did pop in before it started. Yeah, Daz usually goes to Dogs games in Sydney. Jacob Preston at the 40 on 4th tackle. Reed Marnie off to Lachlan Galvin. Galvin short ball to Crichton, and Crichton's 24 metres away from the line. The Dogs do know how to win these games, though. Reed Marnie off to Lachlan Galvin. Galvin across here to Matt Burton. And good kick, good area, but good take by Tyrell Sloan at the 8. And it's going to be first tackled here for the Dragons. 8 metres out from their own line, up by 2. 20 minutes to go here of a big game. Hit that like button and subscribe. It's going to be a huge back end of this season, man. Huge back end of the season. Mitchell says, Daz, the tight ass probably found a way to sneak in. Yeah, well, it's like Belmore, where you can watch the game from someone's balcony. A true story, actually is. Belmore and I guess Leichhardt's probably the same. And Dogs here nearly gave up a huge break to Flanagan. I thought there could have been an obstruction if it had kept going on, but fit tackle at the halfway point. Lucian Leilua's passed his HIA, so he'll be coming back. And Tracy gets this one on the 20. Not on the run this time. But Dogs now at the 25. 20 minutes left of the game. Marta says, catch Sloan. Yeah, Sloan's been solid today. Overall, like I said at half time, the Dragons and Dogs were going toe-to-toe. Like, it wasn't a bad stat line for the Dragons. You could have made an argument that the Dragons were actually doing better. Again, you had to equate and use the equivalent runs to get 1 second. William kick out the 45. And now Tuala should have passed it. He had Rinakama away. 4 tackle at the 45 on the Dragons side of the field. You had to equate the Dragons' runs by about 32 to get up to where the Dogs were at. But I did say if the Dragons were getting the same amount of possession, and you equate it, pretty much every stat was in favour of the Dragons, if not very extremely on the dot similar. So it tells you a lot about kind of what this first half actually was, and shows you why the Dragons are taking the lead here. Because a lot of Dragons fans, one sec, Dogs kick it up in the air, knock on, I think, from the Dogs. I think this is going to be a knock on Dogs, but Viliami Kickout may have scored here, but they're going to check it. So Viliami Kickout has put the ball over the line. They are going to go over to the bunker here. He is going to call no try, Adam G. I think this is going to be a knock on here from the Dogs. A lot of Dragons fans would have hated that first half watching it, but if they had looked at the stats, they would have realised they weren't that bad. I'm pretty certain Connor Tracy touched this. I think Connor Tracy knocks this ball on. And yeah. Yeah, Connor Tracy will knock this ball on. And it'll go into Gutho. And it's going to be no try. So Dragons will get the ball to hit the 10. PNG Adventures says go to Dragons. Ronald says Dogs will win by 22 points. That's not happening. There's 19 minutes left to go of the game here, Ronald Mel. And it's a 2-point loss right now for the Dogs. Four tries straight for the Dogs in the last 19 minutes whilst the Dragons are trying to survive their season. I don't think that's going to be happening. But, hey, listen, anything can happen. Just doubt it. Mitchell says, whatever helps you sleep at night, Ronald. Yeah, it's good luck to him. You know, it's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him. Bold strategy. Dude, I can't wait to be able to stream without having this damn well sniffle and this damn well sickness, mate. It's so annoying. It's so annoying to have streaming and being like this. Second tackle now at the 25. Levi says, question, if Manly upset the Storm, big if, will they be taken off fraud alert? Absolutely. Of course they will. I don't even think if the Dogs win this, they get taken off that, to be honest. Dragons have played well enough. I actually probably still would. I don't know. But if they lose this, then definitely they'll still be on fraud alert Dogs. Now, fourth tackle here for the Dragons. Now fifth at the 43 on their own side of the field. Micro says Val Holmes. Yeah, Val Holmes not playing, but guess what? Penalty Dragons. Penalty Dragons for a crusher against Max King. And that's a huge penalty for the Dragons. It's going to give them an attacking opportunity here whilst up by 2. It is a crusher. It's unfortunate, but it is a correct call there from Madam G. He does put pressure on the back of his neck, and it does hurt him. You can see it. Punk Travis' huge sigh of relief just happened from every Dragon supporter. Yeah, well, that penalty is huge right now. Absolutely huge. And Gutho is still down trying to work his neck. Max King goes on report. Sovin says Bulldogs win by 8 points. 0-10. Well, there's still 18 minutes left. There's plenty of time. But the Dragons are going to have a great opportunity right now. And that's an awful kick from Flanagan that only goes to the 50. They got the penalty at the 44. He only kicked it 6 metres. That's rough. So Jaden Stewart, first tackle. That was a great opportunity to kick that ball to around the 40, maybe the 35, and get a big one going. But he only kicked it 6 metres. Not Val Holmes, Kyle Flanagan. Jack DeBellin now. His second tackle, 43 metres out here from the Dogs line. And now Jacob Little, he'll be at the 35. What happened to Val Holmes? He's out for the rest of the season. Val Holmes, unfortunately, will not play for the rest of the season here. Gutho to Leilua, and Leilua, he'll get taken out at the 30. What is he playing, buddy? Centre right now? What's Leilua doing out there? And now DeBellin, he'll be 30 metres out, fit tackle. Not a great set here from the Dragons at all, but it all started off the back of a really bad kick from Flanagan. King Tagia. And good chase here from the Dragons. Connor Tracy picks it up, but Leilua comes through. Crichton gets away here. Crichton at the 20, at the 25, the 30. Good run, taken down. Ronald says Dogs will bark in the last 15 minutes. Well, they've got to get a move on. First tackle now, 30 metres out. That 2-point penalty right before halftime. Again, the Dragons were down by 10 points. With 30 seconds to go, they received a penalty from a relatively difficult position. They had the choice to go for the try in the last 30 seconds or go for the 2 and go down by 8, which confused a lot of people. But you can understand it when you realise the 3 points are on offer and it's not easy to score a try, especially against a really good Dogs defensive team. So it's worked out to be the right decision here. Even if they were to lose this game, it's put them in the advantage with 16 minutes left, and the confidence that you get from being in the lead by 2 rather than being drawn at 16-16 is monumental. Crichton here gets away from a couple of tackles, and he'll be taken down to the 30. He gets up at the 33. Tackle wasn't made. He's at the 20 now. Fit tackle for the Dogs. Fit tackle, Blake says, how are you? Just getting past the sickness, mate, but it's rough. Galvin, this is a great game. Matt Burton, he'll kick this ball over the top, and Sloan will get it. It's going to be a dropout. A dropout coming up here from the Dragons to the Dogs. I think even if Sloan didn't slip over, the Dogs had him covered. So a dropout coming up. Jay says, 240 watching. Hit that like button and sub up to talk in the chat. Lurkers, welcome. Plenty of lurkers, mate. Plenty of lurkers. Olivia says, is it Wingy Saturday or something? Yeah, probably. I am valid to whinge about my sickness, but everyone else... Middle says, Leilua is replacing Finau. Corey Allen moved from the centre to the wing. Oh, fair. Okay. Fair enough. All right. So, wow, the Dragons. Did they just get that short dropout? They did. The Dragons just got the short dropout at the 11. So the Dogs are struggling to get themselves into this game, man. They get themselves a prime opportunity with a dropout, but ultimately the Dragons ended up with it with Luciano Leilua. Third tackle now for the Dragons at the 20. I know, Olivia. JK says, what's your thoughts on the Cowboys currently? Do you really want my thoughts on the Cowboys currently, JK? You sure? Are you sure you want my thoughts? I think that should give you the answer, my man. So Jack DeBellin out the back here to King Tagia, and then Luciano Leilua. He'll be at the 40 on fifth tackle. 15 minutes left of the game. Minus a setup for Sully and Sloan. Go right, Dragons. Well, the Dogs now will have the ball at the 15 through Connor Tracy. He brings it to the 20, to the 25, to the 30-ish. Yeah, roughly 30. Be first tackle. JK says, yes, please. Well, they've conceded over 500 points this season. They've conceded 531 points, whilst the next worst team is 482 points. So, you know, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. Third tackle, and like we've said on previous streams, the Cowboys have regressed attacking wise by about 100 points on their 2023 and 2024 season. Stephen Crichton here, right inside of the 40, flicks it off here to Jacob Kiraz, and Kiraz is going to be 32 metres out and 4 tackle. No, he's going over the sideline! He's going over the sideline! That's great defense, Dragons. That's absolutely phenomenal defense from the Dragons there. That is great to keep Jacob Kiraz of all players up and drag him over the sideline. That's really good stuff. That's really good stuff. Crichton flicks it to Kiraz. Kiraz is a tough man. He walks back into the in field to try and get away from the sideline, but Jaden Sewer holds him up. You've got Jacob Little there. You've got King Tagia there. You've got everyone there, and they get him over the sideline. Really good stuff by the Dragons. So since 2023 and 2024 seasons, the Cowboys, 2022 to 2024, the attack for the Cowboys was very good, but the defense was not very good. But the defense has gone about 100 points worse than those 3 seasons. Like, it was getting worse from 2022 to 2023 to 2024. Now it's dramatically worse. And the attack for the Cowboys was very good, and it was getting better and better and better. And then this year it's completely plummeted and gone off by about 120 points at this comparative time last season and the year before and whatnot. The Dragons now, they'll be 35 metres out. They get the offload away to Gutho, and Gutho is going to push away from Jamin Salmon, and Salmon's at the 40. Gutho's at the 40 on 4 tackle. It's just Salmon made the tackle. Jackson Bellin goes at himself, and he'll be about 25 metres away, fit tackle. Just don't give away a 7 tackle set here, Dragons. That's the only thing you cannot do. King Tagia puts it up in a good area. Dragons need to chase this ball, put pressure on. I think that's knocked back there. That's going to be a penalty to the Bulldogs. Penalty to the Bulldogs here. 12.5 minutes left to go of the game. Penalty to the Bulldogs. Jared Farman, it's such a good game. These games I do enjoy more when you have a team fighting for their season. Absolutely. The back end of the year is always going to be absolutely spicy, mate. It's going to be spicy. And like Manly Melbourne is the same. Manly are Melbourne are a very top table team fighting for a minor premiership right now. If they lose, I guarantee the Raiders the minor premiership. But Manly are fighting for their season. You know, they're not in the top 8 right now. So the Dogs are going to get this ball to the 45 on the Dragons side of the field. Great kick. But Manly must win that game. Especially with that points differential of the Dolphins. It's not in Manly's hands anymore. It's currently in Manly's hands, but if they lose today, it's not in their hands anymore. So that's a big game. We'll be live streaming it right after this. Alright, so first tackle of the Dogs at the 35. It was a great kick from that penalty. Tupanua, he's 30 metres out. 11 minutes 50 to go here of the game. Bailey Hayward, he'll go to Jamin Salmon. Salmon at the 25, off to Lachlan Galvin. Galvin to Vili Viliami kick out. Then he gets it offloaded, and it's a Dragons pick up. Oh, Viliami kick out with the mistake. The Dragons are playing some actual pretty good footy in the second half. But again, they've actually played some pretty good footy across the entirety of the game that Dragons fans won't like to admit, because if you look at the statistics in the first half, they weren't that bad, and they were actually going toe-to-toe with the Bulldogs. The Dragons have been playing some pretty good footy today. I've not been a fan of Flanagan in the first half, but the second half he's been a lot better. He's still been a bit how you go on, but overall he's been better in the second half than the first half. But overall, the Dragons are giving it a red-hot crack here. Out to... Oh, chance here by the Sully. Sully gets the offload away to Tyrell Sloan. Sloan at the 20, kicks it over the top here for himself. Here's a chance. Here's a chase. They go! Drop out. Ooh, Dragons, they are knocking on the door. Knocking on the door. Tyrell Sloan nearly just pretty much won them the game there, where they would have gone up by 8. 10 minutes to go here of a massive game of rugby league, guys. Hit that like button and subscribe. Comment in the chat who you think wins from here. It's a 2-point game, but the Bulldogs are going to have to go for a short dropout here against the Dragons to try and get this ball back. Bailey Hayward to get back and stop that from being a try. That's monumental. Zainab getting around the doggies. The Bulldogs with the short dropout. I think that's a knock-on penalty to the Bulldogs, yeah? As a penalty to the Bulldogs here. The Dragons, they touch it, goes forward, and Jacob Little will unfortunately give away the penalty here. It's Hamish Stewart who goes up for the catch, and he just couldn't get it. And unfortunately, Jacob Little was in front of him, and it's an offside penalty, so the Dogs will get the ball here. Dogs will get the ball. Levi's has a couple of huge games for Manly coming up. Roosters and Dolphins game will be do or die. I spoke about this with my dad. Go and have a look at Manly's run home. It's disgusting. Manly's run home is disgusting. If they make the 8, I take my hat off to them. Like, I'll honestly say to you, I don't think Manly make the 8. Because you look at their run home, they've got to play like the Storm they're going to play this. I think the Storm even twice. I think they got Storm twice. They got like the Raiders. They got the Warriors. They've got the Roosters in a couple of weeks, who are not as great, but in similar position. Like they're in a very, very tough predicament. The old Manly. All right, so Tupanua, he's going to be 30 metres out from the line on third tackle. Even if he's playing with some tig up. So third tackle. Olivius want the Dragons to win. Well, right now they're in the lead, and Bailey Hayward is 20 metres out from the Dragons line. Fourth tackle. Birdo does have a 2-point field goal in him if the... Oh, it's a knock-on from James Salmon. I thought he was going to call a penalty. No, it is a knock-on. You have to challenge this, Dogs. You have to. You would have to if you've got your challenge still. With 9 minutes left, you may... No, he has just lost it. Don't challenge it. No, good. Good. No, that was just a really bad lost ball there from Jamin Salmon. David Clemmer getting fired up. Damien Cook about to come back on the field. Oh, I just don't really like it. Don't take off Jacob Little. Don't take off Little. He's been great today. Blakes, I want to see Katoa in the finals. I would say it would take a miracle for the Dolphins not to make the finals with their points differential. But there is a bit of a facade. They're not really beating the big time teams. They're beating a lot of teams that are very susceptible. The Bulldogs game was a facade because it was against the Bulldogs team with all their origin players out. Dragons here. It's going to be Luciano Leilua. He gets his ball to the 35 on third tackle. Third tackle. Jacob Little goes it himself. Nice quick run there. Gets the offload away. Grass McGrath, David Clemmer. And now he'll be at the 45 on fourth tackle. Jay says, if Drags win, keep an eye on Kiss Cam. You might see Sam and Jag. That wouldn't surprise me, mate. Wonder if Eliza will be there. So fifth tackle. Should be jealous, but now at the 50 on fifth tackle. 8 minutes to go here of the game. If Manly finish 9th, I'll blame Luke Brooks. I think they're probably more so looking at a 10th place finish, mate, with their run home. But again, like if they can make the finals from here, it'd be very impressive. All right, first tackle here for the Dogs at the 25. They make the finals from here. Like there's a chance that they can go pretty far into the finals because they play all the best teams. I think they only play one more team outside the top 8, and that's the Titans. No, maybe not. No. It might be, actually. I can't remember. They only play like one more team outside the top 8, I believe. Maybe. So fourth tackle now for the Dogs. 48 metres away here from the Dragons line. Texas, mate, who do you think will win? Well, I tipped the Dogs 1-12 because I thought the Dragons would be up for it. Crichton here, right-hand side. Jacob Kiraz will be 25 metres out, fifth tackle. I did say before the game, the Dragons will be up for this. Most people will tip Dogs 13+, but I went 1-12, so I'm happy with that. But the Dragons right now do look like they probably will hold out, but there's still 7 minutes to go. Long way to go. Burton kicks that one into the corner where Rinakama knocks the ball on. So it's going to be Dragons ball here at the 13 with a fresh set. Still only 2 points. That 2 points right before half-time was crucial. Against what most people would do, but crucial. Eagles and Melbourne. I'll take Storm, but I think that'll be a really cracker game too, mate, because Manly are fighting for their season. Levi says, Dolphins remind me of 2021 Manly, flat track bullies who will flog teams below them but aren't on that same level as the top dogs. Don't necessarily disagree, but they did also lose the Knights. They did also concede 26 points to the worst attacking team in the Knights, who are statistically the worst attacking team by about 60-odd points. To the second worst attacking team. Third tackle now for the Dragons at the 30. Mitchell says they play us, which we all know they'll lose. Oh, maybe it's the Tigers then, not the Titans, because we already beat Manly. Titans already beat Manly. King Tagia now, he'll be at the 30 on fourth tackle with 6 minutes left here. Dogs looking like Chihuahuas, said Watson. Well, they're just looking shaky, man. And I guarantee you Galvin's going to cop a lot of the blame, even though I don't think he's been the reason for this loss today, if they lose. Like, they'll just find a way to blame Galvin, but it's like, it's this... I don't know if Toby Sexton would have been able to win this game either. Because I don't think... Galvin scored a try, and also, he's been fine. I don't think he's been spectacular, but... Like, Galvin scored a try. They've only scored 16 points, and I think that he's been fine. Knock on. That's a knock on from Kiraz. That's a knock on. You have to challenge this. You have to, Jogs. You've got a challenge left with 5.5 minutes to go. You may as well challenge it. You may as well. 5.5 minutes to go. Kiraz knocks the ball on at the 30. This is a big challenge. It's a massive challenge here. He may be shoved here. But regardless, you just have to challenge it. So Leilua... He's just lost the ball. Oh, well, I disagree with that. At the end of the day, Kuraz is trying to... Oh my gosh, what is the ball plant rule at this point? Like, he's not up on his feet yet and he's putting the ball to the ground. What is the point of the ruling that you've gone with all season where you say they must get to their feet before putting the ball on the ground to play the ball? He's not on his feet. So how is that the responsibility of the defender? Now, Luchan Leilua is there and he's putting his foot up there, which I don't necessarily agree with. But at the end of the day, the responsibility has been on the tackler all season long. Why are we going away from that now and saying the responsibility is now on the defender when he hasn't gotten up to play the ball? He's trying to get up to play the ball, but he's putting the ball down on the ground before he's actually gotten up onto his feet, which is what the rules are. Anyway, second tackle here for the Dogs at the 20. Matt Burton, he'll be 10 metres away from the line. Third tackle. Third tackle. They give it to Bailey Hayward. Hayward now, 13 metres out. Jamin Salmon. Salmon at the back here to Galvin. Galvin at the back here to Con Tracy. Con Tracy to Stephen Crichton. Crichton here, 10 metres out, 5 metres out. Fourth tackle. Fourth tackle. This is your big opportunity right now, Dogs. A penalty would be huge too, because then we'd be looking at an extra time game. Connor Tracy, Jamin Salmon. Salmon off to Max King, and King is going to be 10 metres away from the line on fifth tackle. Here we go. Bailey Hayward to Galvin. Can Galvin be the man? He puts that ball up into a good area, but no one chases it through, and it will be a dropout, but I'm really surprised that he's jumped from the field of play and then deliberately dived backwards rather than diving forwards to try and get away from trouble there. But sure, Corey Allen, you do your thing, man. He's jumped from the field of play and then dives back into the in-goal. Don't know why, rather than trying to at least dive out. But that's your Queensland Origin winner of 2020, folks. 3 minutes 50 to go. Why are they going for the short dropout here? You don't need the ball here, Dragons. What are you doing, Gutho? What are you doing? That's actually the most insanity thing I've ever seen. If you gave away a penalty there because... Anyway, Dogs ball here, 11 metres out. They're so lucky they didn't give away a penalty just then, the Dragons. I'm actually astounded, the decision process here. I'm just astounded in that. Jamin Salmon, they're 10 metres away. Lachlan Galvin, a Filiami kick out, and he's going to be 5 metres away from the line. Second tackle. That's an astounding decision from Gutherson and the Dragons. Second tackle, 3 metres away. Bailey Hayward to Jamin Salmon. Salmon to Galvin. Honestly, Dragons, if you lose this... Oh, well, you have to go down here, Galvin. If you lose this game from here, you have to really question that decision. And now Little's holding down the play. Out of the left-hand side, they give it to... Oh, I think that's a knock on Dragons. I think this is a 6 again. Yeah. Well, I think it should have been a knock on both ways there, Adam G, but it's a knock on Dragons regardless. 0 tackle here, 9 metres out. The Dogs, they are just throwing everything they can to the Dragons right now. First tackle. Dragons got to be very careful they don't give away a penalty. Otherwise, we're looking at an extra time. First tackle, Bailey Hayward. Out the back of Galvin. Galvin now. He gives it to... Oh! Tracy crunched in the tackle, mate. Crunched in the tackle, second tackle. Jaden Stewart's had some big hits today. Crichton now gives it out the back to Preston. Preston to Bailey Hayward. Hayward off to Josh Curran. They're 15, 10 metres away from the line. Third tackle. 2 minutes to go now of the game. Bailey Hayward gives it to Jamin Salmon. Salmon here to Lachlan Galvin. Galvin over the top. Try time for the Dogs. Jethro Ridikama. Dosso 50. The Doggies will take the lead. And that all comes down to a very, very questionable decision. Very, very questionable decision from Clinton Gutherson and the Dragons to go and decide to go for a short kick when you're up by 2 points. So 2 minutes to go. This is a tough kick from the sidelines. Probably going to stay 20-18. But you're up by 2 points. You're going up again. You're literally fighting for your season. You're fighting for your season, Dragons. And you decide to go for the short dropout, up by 2. The Dogs have got all the pressure on you. Kick the fuck out of that ball as far as you possibly can. Don't put yourself under pressure, which they did. And also, mind you, from going from the short, you're never going to give away a penalty from going long. They could have easily given away a penalty from going short. They took a very risky play for not much benefit, and ultimately the Dogs have been able to capitalise on it and score and take the lead 20-18. So the Dogs will take the lead by 2 points here. Like, honestly... Dragons, if you lose this game with this, you've thrown it away yourselves. You really did. You really threw this game away because if you just kick that ball down deep, the Dogs don't get tackle to tackle to tackle on your attacking 10. You can keep them probably at the 30, second tackle 25, third tackle 20 or 15, fourth tackle probably at the 10, and then they're at the 10 4 tackles later or 3 or 4 tackles later. They get 1 or 2 attacking opportunities inside the 10. But instead you decide to give them an entire 5 tackles on the line 10 metres out. You see what I'm saying? It's a dumb dropout, said Watson. 51 seconds left here of the game, and the Dragons will have to go for the short one. You did so well here today, Dragons. You did so well here today. And yet your season is going to be cost because of that. Not that I thought that you were going to make the 8 anyway, but it's now dead in the water. Robertson's double shit I've seen. I know. Small but it says what exactly is special about this Dogs team again. It's not been a great game for them, but they're going to get the dub. And Crichton will miss the kick. So there's 18 seconds, 17. 16, 15 seconds. The time's still going down here. 14 seconds left of the game. The Dragons have to get the short kick and then go for a 40-metre drop. Will Kevin says you're right. Bad call for the Dragons. It's just such a brain-dead call from the Dragons. It's a brain-dead call, and that's why the Dragons are where they are. Gutherson, you are meant to be a leader. What are you doing that? As a leader, what is your thought process there? There is no benefit to the decision that Gutherson made. He deserves to be criticised to the end of the earth for that. So here we go. Short kick. Dragons will. The Bulldogs knock it back and the Dogs win the game. You cost your game yourselves, Dragons. You did. You had the game. No, the Dogs will be staying on fraud alert here, Benjamin, for sure, yeah. And there we go. The end of the game. The Dogs will win. Dragons, your season's finished. Anyone Dragons are below, you now will not be. You're just not making the 8. Wow, I can't believe the choke there from the Dragons. I really can't. And I feel for you Dragons fans because you didn't deserve that. You deserve to win that game. The Dragons deserve to win that game, but unfortunately their leaders did not know how to win. They did not know how to win, and it's disappointing. It's disappointing because the very, very simple decision-making has cost you here. Very, very simple decision-making. Blitzy says, how's this happened then? Jeez. Jackson, that was a 4 pass. I'm not too sure about 4 pass. Either way, though, the decision-making from Gutherson and the Dragons is the reason for what just happened. It really is. Jared says, Dragons, remember you were up by 2 from the 60th minute. Correct. Again, the Dragons deserved to win that game until their leadership didn't know how to leadership. Truly. Truly. But anyway, guys, we're going to jump across here to the Melbourne Storm versus Manly Seagulls game. That was a fantastic game between the Dogs and the Dragons. The Dragons, your season's done. You're in 11th, but you could finish off this weekend potentially in 13th or 12th or 13th. I doubt it, though. A points differential swing would have to happen, but you will be finishing off this round in 11th. Whilst the Bulldogs, you will be second place for the time being, but the Storm, if they beat Manly, you'll go back into 3rd. Jeez, Dragons. I feel sorry for your fans. I feel sorry for your fans after that one because it's nothing against the Dogs. It truly is just the Dragons did so well to keep their season alive, and you get an absolute dingus decision in the 78th minute, which put you under pressure, and you lost the game because of it. But alright guys, I'll see you in 5 minutes time for the Melbourne Storm versus Manly Seagulls game. Obviously hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new around here. I appreciate you guys as always, and I will see you guys very soon. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.